This may take more than a one-shot, guys. I don't know if this is a good time to bring that up, but I don't know. It depends on how far we... Oh, we're live. Okay,
Yeah, welcome to
fantastic.
Microphones of Madness. This may take more than a one shot, apparently. We are playing the Theater of the Mind classic, Death in Dunwich, which is one of the first adventures written for Call of Cthulhu way back in 1980. Cough. So it's older than some of the people who are playing.
It's older than me. It was written in 1980?
1983, actually.
Oh, it's as old as me then.
Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't already guessed, Brian is running this one. And so I'm just going to turn it over to him and away we go.
Terrific. Thank you, Steve. Little bit of an upfront disclaimer. This is my first time running online for Microphones of Madness, so I've got a little bit of stage anxiety. So for all of you that are watching this later, please rely on the skills and talent of the players, and please be forgiving with your keeper of arcane lore as we shamble through this one. So
Brian's logged more hours running games than the rest of us combined.
So. Well, anyway, yeah, I've played a few, but I'm just lucky. I've always had very good players. So, anyway, yes, Death in Dunwich. It was written in 1983 by Ed Wimble for Theater of the Mind Enterprises. So I think that makes it one of the earliest, if not the earliest, Chaosium licensee for adventures. So it was written before Chaosium's own Return to Dunwich, which came out some years later. So there's some. So for those of you that are watching at home, and you have this book, and you're familiar with the contents of this book, and you say, "Wait a minute, that they're going to." This is like a different Dunwich, if you will. We'll try to meld them, but for those of you that are familiar with this one, you may notice some differences in this one because this predates this one by a few years. So that's a little bit of a history lesson. Out there, just a little bit of a history lesson / disclaimer. So, okay, we should get on with things. So why don't we start with Steve, Lily, Nick, and Spencer? You can each give me and give all of us your the name of your character as well as the occupation of your character, and maybe just a brief thumbnail sketch about them. How do you envision them?
All right, I'll start.
Steve, go ahead.
I am playing Marcus Willoughby, who is a smuggler who lives in the Boston area. I have him as handsome and dapper, getting by mostly on a quick smile and a few dollars to grease the wheels. He's pretty much happiest with a cocktail in his hand and a dame by his side.
Excellent. And Lily, how about you?
I am playing one Leland Jackson tonight. He is the elder brother of one Lucille Jackson, who happens to be a writer from a previous campaign. He is a bootlegger, and he likes to travel a lot.
Excellent. Nick, how about you?
Hi, my name's Nick. I'm playing James Smith. He's a cheap PI. He was formerly a cop on the take, but he was turned into internal affairs by his colleagues, who got a little tired of just him as a person. So yeah, he's just trying to make ends meet with odd jobs here and there. Their cases.
Cool. Spencer, how about you?
Well, I'm a World War I vet, goes by the name of Full House. I'm a casualty of the Battle of Argonne, where I took a German arrow to the knee. And I was the best damn sniper in the whole infantry.
Very good. And now Full House is his nickname, I assume, right? That's not what his parents named him, right?
Oh no, sir.
What's his name on his birth certificate?
Oh, that's Tommy Smith, sir.
Tommy Smith. All right, but he prefers Full House. Okay.
I was a sniper in the infantry until I took an arrow to the knee.
I was really hoping you would make that joke, sir.
All right, excellent. So I guess before we get into the events of the story, do any of the characters want to know one another? It doesn't matter to me. I just would like to know if any of the characters have a familiarity with one another before we start the game.
I would probably have a bit of familiarity with Lily's character as we're in similar lines of business.
Yeah, I'd say we probably have done business together.
And I'm also going to assume that I probably have contributed to Nick's character's retirement fund.
All right. So Marcus, you've had business relations with Leland. You've had some run-ins of one kind or another with James, and then how about Tommy? I guess Tommy, do you know Tommy? You think, or people don't have to know one another. It's just convenient to know.
Well, I don't know if we necessarily know anyone, but
well, apparently we have the same last name, so you could be my cousin if you want to.
It's not like Smith isn't like the most common nickname.
That's a very good point.
It's fine if you guys want to be like cousins. That's totally cool. If you don't,
do we really want to go the cousin route again?
You don't have to go the cousin.
I'm not Wesley.
He's not my brother.
They're brother cousins.
I'm not his brother. Not his brother cousin. I'm from South. I'm from South Boston. I need to start speaking like that.
South Boston.
South Boston.
South Boston.
Southly.
Not Boston. Boston.
I'm sorry.
Boston.
Boston.
I'll give you a hard time about that.
Not from Boston.
You can be from Boston. That's totally cool. I can't do accents to save my life.
James, I'll meet you in Arlington.
Arlington, yes. There we go. All right. So we've got Marcus and Leland know each other. They also know James. Tommy, maybe or Full House rather. You could, if you want to be our sort of not familiar with the others, you're all going to be gathered up in a particular place, so it's totally fine for you to be like sort of the odd man out. So the narrative begins. It is April 17th, 1922. You are all of you standing in the living room of a once grand but now crumbling house in Boston. This thing has definitely seen better days. In your pocket, each of you has a telegram which has summoned you here. And I'll read it out since we don't have handouts and people watching at home wouldn't have the handouts anyway. The telegram reads, "Have need of your services. Stop. Compensation will be generous. Stop. There may be danger. Stop. Meet me at 321 Beacon Street. Stop. 12 noon tomorrow. Stop. Keep it confidential. Stop. Signed, M. Feldspa." So, through your various channels, each of you has come into possession of one of these telegrams delivered to you. And so you now find yourself standing in this front living room of this beautiful or once beautiful home on Beacon Street, which has apparently been abandoned or hasn't seen, everything's kind of run down, doesn't look like it's been lived in for a while, or at least not lived in extensively. There's really no furniture in Boston on Beacon Street, so there aren't like big yards to speak of. There are these little postage stamp sized yards sort of fenced in with little iron railings on Beacon Street. And even this little yard hasn't been taken care of. The weeds have come up. They're probably last year's growth because it is April, mid-April. So it looks like some of the leaves from last fall, what few leaves there are in Boston, in central Boston, they've been caught on the fence and on the little bit of land that's there. So it's kind of not a very well kept up place. It's raining. It's sort of a gray, rainy, raw, early spring day in Massachusetts. So there's these thick, fat sort of raindrops hitting the front windows. If it was any colder, it might be snow. But as it is, it's cold raindrops. and the chill of the early spring is just sort of seeping in. The place is either not heated or very underheated, so you're all glad that you've worn your thick winter. You haven't shed your winter clothing yet, and you're glad for that because it's just a chilly, uncomfortable front room. And despite the chill, there's been no attempt. The fireplace is just ashes, so there's been no attempt to make the place very hospitable. Just as you're thinking, you've all been standing there a while. There's been a chance for some of you to get acquainted with one another. Those of you that don't know one another, there is some time for you all to discuss amongst yourselves and get to know each other a little bit, whatever you care to disclose to one another. And you've been standing there now for sort of an awkward amount of time. Just the four of you. You all realize you've all gotten a telegram, and it's just been awkward. And just about the time that you think maybe this is like a practical joke, or maybe you're getting a little suspicious. Some of you have checkered backgrounds, perhaps, and you're like, is this some kind of setup? You know, you're getting a little paranoid, perhaps. Just as that happens, a door on the far side of the room opens up, and in comes an elderly man in a tan suit. It's like maybe he's optimistic. It's definitely a spring suit, sort of a spring tan suit, not a heavy winter suit. He smiles politely at all of you, and he ushers you into the next room, further into the building. And he says, your potential employer will see you now, but I must ask you to remain on your side of the partition. He is very, very conscious of his privacy and wishes to maintain his privacy. So as he ushers you into this other sitting room a little bit further into the building, you see four plush chairs sort of lined up in a row, obviously meant for the four of you to sit down. And then you can see sort of partitioned off, almost like maybe nurses would partition off a hospital room with a cloth or something. Although these are sort of thick velvet drapes, you can see like a corner of the room has been partitioned off with thick maroon colored draperies that are just that completely block that corner of the room. So you're invited to sit down. You're sort of facing this odd drapery, and then presumably you all sit. And as you do so, this man in the tan suit, without any other word of explanation, he steps out behind you. He like leaves the way that you all came in. You hear the door close behind him. So after a moment, after the four of you get settled into your chairs, you hear a voice from behind the partition. And it's sort of strangely scratchy, almost as if you were hearing a voice over like an old Victrola gramophone. It's got that sort of tinny, sort of slightly scratchy, almost flat aspect to it. However, it does address each of you by name. It says, hello, Mr. Willoughby. Hello, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith. Full House, you notice that whoever this person is, they've done their homework because they're calling you by your last name and not simply Full House, your sort of street name. I've brought you all together, and I will be the one paying your bills should you accept my offer. It suits me to remain anonymous. Before I continue, I must ask, do you wish to be here to learn more? If you do, I will continue. For those that wish to leave, I thank you for your time and would ask you to exit now. And there's a pause. Does anybody get up off their chair and take off?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't come this far.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so after a suitable length of time, again, it sounds like it's coming through an old gramophone. It's got this scratchy sound to it, but it's obviously not a recording because, well, you're being addressed. Very good. I see that you all will stay. Here's the situation, gentlemen. Approximately 8 weeks ago, an associate of mine, a Mr. Dale Plunkett, was found murdered outside of Dunwich, Massachusetts. In those 8 weeks, the police have found out exactly nothing. According to articles in the popular press, as well as my own awareness of Mr. Plunkett, he was an expert art appraiser and an art dealer of some repute. He was a resident of Paris, and I believe he had come to New York on business. How he came to be in Massachusetts and what he was doing here in Massachusetts are questions that have not been answered to my satisfaction. And for my own reasons, I intend to find out the answers. That is where the four of you come in. I want you to investigate this incident for me. I expect positive results in about a week. I will pay each one of you $75 per day, plus expenses, with an advance now, and the rest of the funds later. But I do expect results for my money.
Absolutely.
Very good, Mr. Smith. My man Feldspar will take care of your advance. Remember, gentlemen, you have 1 week. At that time, please return to this address with your report. That's all. 1 week.
Hold on 1 second. So you just want to know why this Plunkett guy was in Massachusetts?
I wish to know the circumstances surrounding his being here, as well as the circumstances surrounding his death. I'm unsatisfied with the police reports. I need to know more.
What did the police reports say?
For those, you'll have to look into them yourself. There is the constabulary in Dunwich, and I do believe that the Massachusetts State Police was also involved. But I'd rather you get your own impressions rather than them being filtered through my own. Fresh sets of eyes and ears and minds on this would be helpful. So, do we have an arrangement, gentlemen?
Kind of hard to turn down $75 a day.
Yeah, it is a pretty good amount of money.
I just got to let my bookie know that I'm leaving town.
Fair enough. Make whatever arrangements you need to. Your other contracts do not concern me.
Well, I've got nothing coming in, so I'm in.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's real hard to turn down $75 a day.
I appreciate your willingness to take on my case, gentlemen. If you should need anything else, Feldspar will make the arrangements.
Excellent.
And with that, as if on cue, the door behind you, you hear it open, you sort of turn around, look over your shoulders, and again, the elderly man in the tan suit reappears with he's quiet, but he has a pleasant smile. And he holds the door open in a gesture that, okay, it's time to leave now. Time to leave this room. He's ushering you out to the front room again.
I'll follow him.
Okay.
I do too.
Very good.
As I'm following him out, I lean over to Marcus. You know, if he wasn't paying me $75 a day, I'd be real tempted to see what was behind that partition. Be a shame if it was something like a half-naked snake person or something. Next thing they'll be telling us a little bald kid and they're making little cans dance in the shape of people or something.
You know, I've been in this business a long time, and I find the less questions that one asks of one's employer, aside from "Are you the police?" the better.
Sometimes it's best not to ask that either.
What kind of advance are we getting?
Feldspar smiles pleasantly, pulls out a small bill with little wallet, and he hands each of you an envelope. There are 4 envelopes, and so he takes out of this little leather organizer thing. He takes 4 envelopes out. That's all that he has in there. You can see that, and he hands each one of you an envelope. Has nothing written on the outside, but you can feel bills. You know, they're not sealed. You can peek in, and as you do, you see greenbacks.
All right.
Quickly count them and then stuff them in my pocket.
Okay. A quick count shows that there is indeed $50 in mostly small bills.
Nice.
In each envelope, $50, which again for 1922 is a sizable amount
of money.
Yeah.
On my bookie 35, that leaves me $15 to gamble with before we leave.
Well, I see he's serious, and I don't see any reason to turn him down. Again, $75 a day is a hard thing to pass up.
Yep.
Please.
No, now should we take our time with this? $75 a day.
I put it this way: in my experience, when a man has the kind of money to just pay someone off like this, I would suggest we not screw him over too much.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Well, hold on. He did say to be thorough.
He did say we had a week too.
This is true.
Now, I'm not opposed to taking that whole week. I'm just saying we shouldn't go over said
I
week.
think we could be thorough in a week.
Are you all having this conversation in the front room or like on the steps of the outside of the residence? Like,
I'd say walking out of the residence, like
Yeah.
just walking back.
I didn't know if like
I wouldn't do that in front of. I wouldn't do that in front of Feldspar. Don't know this guy.
Yeah, we're not.
I'm a crook, not stupid.
All right, fair enough then. You guys are standing out. The rain is coming down. It's cold. It's windy. It's unpleasant. It's a very gray, gloomy day. So you're warmed by the presence of $50 each in your wallets.
And
That
the
warms you.
juice in my flask.
Yes, that makes you happy. So from there, you're sort of standing out there on Beacon Street, and in Boston, and there you are.
Does anyone have a car?
I do.
I also have a car as a bootlegger.
Oh, that's true. You
I
guys.
have a Model T Ford.
Now, let
I
me
didn't
assure
specify what I have.
let me assure you both. I know we've had our run-ins in the past, but I am no longer a uniformed police officer. I'm a private.
Oh, we know about your fall from grace.
Okay.
Leland laughs at you when he says that. I wasn't particularly worried about you when you had a badge. I'm a little less so now.
I'm just saying we need to get over to the speakeasy.
I think we should go over to Dunwich.
I agree. We should not keep our employer waiting.
We'll have time for the speakeasy afterwards,
You're right.
and the gambling den.
Is there a state police barracks near Dunwich?
There is a in Springfield, Massachusetts, would be the closest state police barracks.
I think we should go, and it pains me to say this. We should go to Springfield first and maybe try and see what the state police have to say about this.
That sounds like a great idea.
And that's going to take you, this is 1922, so this is 1922 travel times on unimproved roads in Massachusetts, a lot of it rural, western Massachusetts.
Go west at Aylesbury.
Wait, we're not flying in hammocks on drones?
Aylesbury Pike.
You estimate it's going to take from Boston to Springfield is going to take about 8 hours of time to travel. Yeah. just given the unreliable roads and
Is that
such.
I'm sorry, is that do you have to go past Springfield to get to Dunwich?
Dunwich is actually west of Springfield. It's sort of Boston's out.
Okay. So you have to go past.
If you go northwest, you'll hit Dunwich. If you go southwest, you'll hit Springfield. Springfield would be it's out past Worcester. It's north of. If you went south from Springfield, you'd essentially hit New York. But they don't really have they have a state police barracks in Boston, which works closely with the Port Authority, and then they have one in Springfield because a lot of the traffic up from New York City comes up through Springfield and then heads east towards Boston.
They don't have that communication between barracks that we have these days.
No.
So we need to go there anyway.
They don't have the highway system either, so they don't have like the barracks, like the state police, like how buildings like at all on the Pike or any of that stuff yet.
Right. No easy pass.
Nope.
Building.
All right, well, let's get on Route 90 and
all right. So you're gonna head to Springfield. Okay. So we'll say it was we know what time it was when you guys met with your employer. I think it was on the Telegram. Just want to make sure we're covering our time.
Yep.
So let's see. You guys met at high noon with this mysterious employer on Beacon Street. And if it's an 8-hour, you probably were in there, you're probably in there a good hour because you stood around for a while. Then you had this little meeting. So it's probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you head to Springfield, that's going to put you in Springfield about 9 o'clock at night. Which, FYI,
we can get an early start in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, we do kind of need this information.
what's the travel?
I mean, how do we know what's shady if we don't know what they found?
What's the travel time between Springfield and Dunwich?
The travel time between Springfield and Dunwich. Let's see. That would be that'd be about 5 hours because you're pretty much just headed due north from Springfield to Dunwich. So it's about 5-hour travel.
Oh, this is going to be a long trip. Yeah, we should probably wait till the morning. Well,
I suggest we at least head to Springfield.
I don't think we'll be able to meet the state police, but yeah, we should at least head there. I feel like we should go there first.
we should definitely go there first. But should we wait till
we
the
get
morning?
there, have our layover, wake up early in the morning, talk to the coppers, and then go on back to Dunwich.
Yeah, that's what I think we should do.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
So I missed that. I'm sorry. You guys are heading out tonight or tomorrow?
Tonight. We're going to
Tonight?
go to Springfield tonight,
Okay.
get lodgings, and then
Okay.
start on the
Okay.
barracks.
All right. Very good. And just for argument's sake, we'll say that all this happened on a Monday. Just I don't know what April 17th, 1922 was in terms of actual day of the week. So just for argument's sake, we'll just say all this is happening on a Monday. So Monday night you will get to Springfield.
Okay.
Is that cool?
That
Sounds good.
All right. So you roll into Springfield that night. It's dark. You're driving Marcus's car, is that right?
I'll drive.
Or yeah, I just didn't know whose car was being taken. Or are you taking a bus? You can get Springfield's a major city. It's so you can get a bus route if you wanted to take a bus from Boston to Springfield.
I'm going to take my car just in case we need it.
I'm also taking my car as I'm very partial to it.
Okay, so 2 cars?
It's kind of my livelihood to
Okay.
begin with.
Sure. So 2 cars are going to Springfield. We've got Marcus in one car, Leland in the other car, and then the Mr. Smith and Mr. Smith will be. Are you guys taking cars? Are you just going to climb in with one of these guys, or
We're gonna climb in with them, but we'll split up.
okay? Okay. Well, your trip to Springfield is very uneventful. You see lots of rural Massachusetts, very bucolic. Nice parts. It's very different from Boston, which is the hub of the urban experience in Massachusetts. And Springfield is also a city, but it's much more blue collar, sort of brick mill buildings, that sort of type of city. It's not the skyscrapers and sort of bustle of Boston. It's much more of a blue collar, industrial city, very urban. Buildings are lower, mostly brick. There's a canal network running through some of it. So there you are. As you pull in, it's dark by the time it's April, so it'd still be dark by the time you get there around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. You can easily find a lodging there, just a hotel, a nondescript hotel to put up for the night, and nothing untoward or adventuresome happens that evening. So come Tuesday morning, you're ready to visit the state police barracks.
So, Nick is James, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
Is James pardon me, a PI?
Yeah. He's a cheap PI.
Do you have any connections in the state police that you might be able to use to get information from them?
I don't see why I wouldn't. I was thinking that I was just a Boston PD, but if Boston PD would ever like have come in contact with, I don't think I would in Springfield. You could just say, yeah, sure, why not? Sorry.
You want to see if you have contacts in Springfield?
Yeah.
I guess that would be give me we can bring it down to a roll if you wanted to have it be like a law roll, maybe.
Okay.
Just to see if.
Oh, I failed the law roll.
Okay. So you were a Boston detective, so you have lots of Boston connections, but Springfield, I mean, you've seen this paperwork that comes through once in a while, but be on the lookout for this person came through Springfield a couple of days ago, yada yada. But no real strong contacts.
Yeah.
And you were Boston PD. This is state police, so it's a different division.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interagency cooperation, but you just haven't happened to have a lot of that going on.
Yep.
Tried.
Yeah. And if anytime I call for a roll, just housekeeping. Anytime I call for a roll and anybody disagrees with it, certainly everything's negotiable. I want to make sure I'm running this, in a good way. So if anybody thinks that something should be handled a certain way, please speak up. I just want to make sure this, this works out well. So
No, we're having fun so far.
good.
How do you guys want to go about accessing or trying to access these files?
Well, I mean, you the one who used to be a cop.
Yeah. All right. I'm just. We'll try it.
Just say we're working on a case.
Yeah.
I mean, you can legitimately tell them the truth. You're a PI who was hired to look into this matter.
All right. You're absolutely right. Go up to the front desk.
Okay. There's a uniformed officer, bored looking, sees the four of you come in, sits up a little straighter. Yeah, how can I help you?
Hi, my name is James Smith. I'm a private investigator hired by I have an employer. I was just wondering if I could see the police report for the Plunkett case.
The Plunkett case. Hold on a minute. He leans back, pulls out a couple of manila file folders, starts sifting through them. When was this? Was this a recent? When was this exactly?
Oh, wasn't this recent, guys?
About 8 months.
Okay, about 8 months ago.
Right.
It was 8 weeks ago, actually.
8 weeks.
Sorry, 8 weeks ago.
Oh, all right.
Out of a month.
Oh, that Plunkett. Okay. He he reaches over to another set of files and he pulls those out and can I see your private investigator's license, please?
Oh, no problem. And I show him my credentials.
Okay. He looks at them. He takes down a few notes. If it was the modern day, he'd make a photocopy or a scan of your credentials. But this is 1922, so he pulls out a notepad and he writes down a few things. And then he says, Detective Firkin is the officer that handled this. So hang on a moment. And he slips out back, and he's out there for just a couple of minutes, and then he comes back, and there's this plainclothes person with him, and middle-aged guy, kind of graying, sort of close cropped hair, kind of gray on the sides. He looks kind of all business, and he introduces himself as Detective Firkin, David Firkin.
I have my the brim of my hat pulled down to hide my eyes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he's definitely given all four of you. He does the professional.
Funny enough, Leland's not. Leland's probably fairly well dressed to begin with because he's a bit vain, and he's just standing there.
All right. So which one of you is Detective Smith?
That'll be me, sir. Very nice to meet you. And I'd shake his hand.
Very good. These are your associates?
Yes, these are my colleagues.
I see. And Lieutenant, did you? Oh no, I'll take their names as well. So, if they're going to be working with you, and I'm going to be sharing information with you, Detective. I need to know the names of your associates. So I'm going to need ID before we can proceed. And with that, so they're asking for all of you to give over your IDs so they can record them.
Well, I sure don't have exactly an issue with it. Hand over my identification.
Fair enough. And it is duly recorded, and your ID is handed back to you. Leland and Marcus, do you also hand over your IDs?
I'm wondering if I have any forged documents.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Do I have any?
I guess maybe a luck roll for each of you maybe would solve that.
I do with that 23.
All right.
I do not.
Okay, so Leland had the foresight to bring some fake IDs. So Leland, you hand over your fake ID. They take down that false information and they hand that back to you.
I make a big deal of looking for my credentials and not finding them and flashing a smile saying, dang, I think I left them in my other jacket.
Give me a fast talk roll.
Anyway, this could be a charm roll.
Oh, charm is fine. Charm or fast talk, whatever of the those are probably the two that work.
I make a charm roll.
All right. The detective,
big gun you have.
Yeah. All right. He sort of rolls his eyes and says, I got the information for the other three of you, so fair enough. And he takes you into a back office, takes you through the admitting room there and into his back office. And he will give you he'll show you the police report, and he'll also give you a little bit of a lowdown as you're looking it over. So I'll describe what's on the police report in a moment, but as you're looking at it, he's also kind of saying a few things. And he says, Plunkett's body was discovered by the milkman. Milkman was on his rounds at about 4 a.m. on the 18th of February. The milkman, this was on the way to Dunwich. He was on his farm in outlying Dunwich, and he discovered the body. The milkman then, upon finding the body, he went to the two constables in Dunwich proper and brought them back to where the body was. And the milkman says he hadn't disturbed the body at all, and it apparently been out there a while because it was winter time. It was February, and the body was pretty frozen. And then because the constables immediately, given the gravity of the crime or the situation, the dead body, and it did look like it was foul play. They quickly notified the uniformed division of the state police here, which is when I got involved. So the body, this guy Plunkett, he did die from looks like a pretty good beating. Somebody had it in for this guy pretty bad, and was pretty thorough in their beatdown. Wasn't a good scene.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean the coroner has some more information on that.
Yeah, do you happen to have a coroner's report, or do we need to visit them?
He actually has a copy of the coroner's inquest along with the police reports in the files. I mean, he says Spurious. It's that's the coroner. His name is Spurious, odd name, but he says, yeah, he's you can check in with him if you like. I mean, he's on duty as well. But his file is the reports right here. And then if you guys will bear with me, I can read out the handout for the police report.
Yeah.
Okay. So here it is. Okay. Police report, Massachusetts State Police, Springfield, Massachusetts, Detective Bureau, February 19th, 1922. And if I'm glossing over it, if you guys, I know it's hard with me reading it out. If you want me to repeat anything at any point, just have me repeat it, and I'm happy to do so. Officer filing report, Detective Inspector David Firkin. At 6:10 a.m. on February 18th, 1922, this officer received a call from the Uniform Division that a body had been discovered by the Dunwich, Massachusetts Constabulary earlier that morning. Foul play was suspected, and a tentative identification of the victim indicated that he was not a U.S. citizen. For this reason, the Dunwich Constabulary considered their resources inadequate and notified the State Police Uniform Division. Police photographer Carlton Beats accompanied this officer to the location of the body, where we arrived at 8:20 a.m. On hand were patrolmen Stark and Riskin of the Uniform Division, Bart Wooten and Dan Wooten of the Dunwich Constabulary, and Dr. James Faraday, MD of Dunwich. The victim was lying in a fetal position in a gutter 72 feet from the junction of River Road and Mill Run Lane, 2.6 miles southeast of Dunwich. The body was 321 feet from the south bank of the Miskatonic River and 87 feet northwest from the ruin of an old mill. Two sets of footprints led up to the body and away from it in the snow. One set belonged to Constable Bart Wooten, as he attested, and the other set belonged to the milkman, Albert Pigeon, the discoverer of the body. The body was frozen solid, according to Dr. Faraday. Body was clothed in a tan overcoat, a gray three-piece suit, a white dress shirt, a blue tie, black socks, and a black right shoe. Left shoe and hat were both missing. Personal effects: gold signet ring inscribed DRP on left ring finger. Gold watch on a chain in the breast pocket. A billfold in the jacket pocket with $64 American, 32 English pounds, and 130 Swiss francs. There was a gold tie clasp on the tie, a French passport. This person evidently entered New York on February 12th, 1922. There were $3.26 in loose change, American. And there was a key in the left hand that was removed by the coroner. Apparently the coroner was also there, not listed in the initial report, but in addition to James Faraday, the doctor in Dunwich, Spurious, the coroner, was also there, and apparently he removed a key. There's a supplementary police report, and this was taken at the Wayward Travelers Inn in Dunwich, Massachusetts. Apparently, the police spoke to a Mrs. Doris Hertig, who was the landlady at the Wayward Travelers Inn. According to Mrs. Hertig, Plunkett took a room on February 16th, 1922 at 4:12 in the afternoon. He paid in advance for one night. He was dressed as found, except for a slouch brim fedora hat and both shoes. Luggage consisted of a leather suitcase and a newspaper. At approximately 7 o'clock in the evening, the victim left a key at the desk and inquired about restaurants. Hertig referred the victim to Wheatley's restaurant. The victim left and was never seen again by Hertig. The next day, February 17th, Hertig checked his room. His bed was undisturbed. The following day, February 18th, Hertig removed the victim's luggage to the office. This officer, accompanied by Patrolman Beets and Constable B. Wooten, searched the room but found nothing. The contents of the suitcase: round-trip train ticket, New York to Boston, a receipt for a hired car from Boston, the Boston Globe, morning edition, February 16th, $150 in cash, 100 English pounds, New York Times evening edition, February 14th, pages 23 and 24 missing. Page 25 of the New York Times.
Hold on one second.
Yep.
So, sorry, the papers were the Boston Globe?
Yep, Boston Globe, the morning edition of February 16th.
Hold on one second.
Yep. Yeah, I know I'm rattling this off. I'm sorry. It's a lot of information.
It's all how small that text was. I don't blame you.
All right, so the Boston Globe.
Yep, Boston Globe, the morning edition of February 16th.
Okay.
The evening edition of the New York Times, February 14th.
And that had
pages. Yeah, pages missing. Pages 23 and 24 were missing. And then there is, in the briefcase, was page 25 of the New York Times of February 10th. So there was the New York Times February 10th. The page 25 was stuffed in there. There was a 32 caliber cartridge. So there was I don't know if, to be honest, I'm not sure if that's a single bullet or cartridge. Does a cartridge contain
just a bullet?
Just a bullet? Okay.
Yeah. It could be the casing then, right?
What's that?
It could just be the casing.
I think it's just
the casing.
Cartridge.
Oh, just the casing. Okay, it says a 32 caliber cartridge.
I think that's with the bullet. It would be an empty cartridge if it didn't have a bullet in it.
Okay. It just says 32 caliber cartridge.
Yeah, if anybody listening is a member of the NRA, fuck you. We don't want.
Yeah.
Damn, son. I was about to say, hands up, don't
Russian
shoot.
agent.
But damn, son.
Go get a blowjob from a Russian agent.
There's a piece of paper in the briefcase, and on it says 222 NY, and then underneath that it says 222 Boston. So 222 NY, 222 Boston.
No colons or anything, just 222.
Yeah, just 222, and then actually like a little hyphen, like 222 hyphen NY, and then underneath it says 222 hyphen Boston. But yeah, no colon. It doesn't look like it's like 2:22 in the afternoon or 2:22 in the morning. It just says 222.
Could it be like a train number?
Could be a train number. Could be it could be anything like that.
Yeah, it could be anything.
And then there's just various loose articles of clothing belonging to the victim. And then finally the police report says no one answering to the victim's description was seen at Wheatley's restaurant on the evening of February 17th. And no neighbors in the vicinity saw the victim. So apparently on his way to the restaurant, between the inn and the restaurant, something bad happened because he didn't make it to the restaurant.
How far away is the restaurant from the inn?
Doesn't say. Firkin says it's not that far. Downtown Dunwich is like is a postage stamp size community. A lot of outlying farms. So the yeah, it's pretty much down the street. It's like separated by like maybe 3 other buildings with like big yards, big maybe on an acre each. So you're not talking like more than just a couple of minutes between the two on foot. So that's what, and then it just at the bottom it says report filed by David Firkin, badge number 179. So that's Firkin's. And then there's the coroner's inquest. So again, another big data dump on you guys. And again, I can repeat any of this at any point in the adventure if you need it. Summary of official report filed February 18th and 19th, 1922. State Coroner's Office, Springfield, Massachusetts. Examiner of record M. Spurious. Victim was dead at least 5 hours prior to discovery, as evidenced by the totally frozen state of the body. Time of death can only be fixed by circumstantial evidence due to fresh nature of body. Contusions at wrists and ankles suggests rope burns. Victim shows much evidence of severe torture administered by an expert hand. There is further evidence to suggest that after a period of extensive scientific torture, the victim was then savagely pounded into a pulp. Several ribs are broken and the left lung is pierced. The body is covered with teeth marks. 4 distinct patterns revealed. 3 are definitely human. The largest set, however, are grossly abnormal. Although undeniably not that of any known animal, they are too large and powerful to be human, even though this is what they resemble most. The victim had not eaten for many hours prior to death. His fingernails were encrusted by filthy, blood-matted coarse fibers of some kind. Other than the fact that they are natural, there is little that can be deduced from them. They most closely resemble the horsehair stuffing of a chair. And then underneath, in bullet points, it says cause of death. And then there's these bullet points. It says, definitely the result of foul play. Victim died of one or more of the following: loss of blood, strangulation, suffocation, drowning in own blood, constriction, beating, or crushing. Positive identification is difficult because of severely damaged nature of face. Fingerprints and dental patterns have been sent to the State Department. Signed, Milburn Spurious. Supplement, March 2nd, 1922. Victim positively identified as Dale Robert Plunkett, French national. Initialed MS. For Milburn Spurious. So, there you have it. Not a pretty way to go out.
So what is the state police found? Aside from reporting what happened to him, do you have any leads? Do you have any theories?
No, not really.
Detective work.
Yeah, I've been working the case. Everybody in Dunwich is incredibly closed-mouthed. I haven't been able to get anywhere with anyone in the community. It's a bit of a ride up there. I thought maybe once we put the word out, somebody would maybe come forward, but it's been eight weeks or so. It's really a cold case at this point. We haven't, sometimes someone comes forward with a seemingly unrelated matter, and then we find out it's connected. But I'm not really, he's a French national. It doesn't seem to have any family. I mean, nobody's come calling for the body or anything like that. So, I mean, there's no other than some perfunctory stuff with, him being a French national, having to fill out the requisite paperwork. There's been nobody asking for this guy. You can give a psychology roll as he's talking at this point. Y'all can make a psych roll.
30. I make that.
I'd make that.
Okay.
I failed.
Okay. Spencer, how about you? How'd you do?
Yeah,
Yeah, I failed.
Okay.
having a base.
So, Marcus and Leland, we'll say that that Smith and Smith are busy. Like, scrutinizing the reports. Maybe the other two read them first, so you're reading this guy's body language while the other two are still leaning over the reports. He doesn't seem like evasive or anything. He just seems like he doesn't care. This guy. No one's asking for him. He's not known to anybody around here. He's not a local guy. You get the sense that the detective is either lazy or maybe one part lazy to one part I have other cases that people care about more, because he's just kind of giving off that air of, shrug, a dead body, some strange guy. Maybe, we'll keep the case open. Maybe somebody will come forward at some point. But he's definitely not the most motivated seeming guy. Like he's just not. It's not bothering him terribly that he's got an unresolved murder. And he's like, he even looks. He's like spurious. Just like this thing about the teeth that kind of weirds him out. So he's kind of like, it's he's got easier cases to solve, and he's ready to put more energy towards those. So that's the read you get off of him.
Detective Firkin, have you looked into any of these these newspaper leads? The missing pages from the New York Times and the one that was found in his briefcase?
I'm just assuming the guy liked to read. He's probably new to this country, and who knows? Probably just trying to get what's going on. Big papers like that.
You're probably right. Hey,
Leland. Yeah. Leland. I mean, again, the guy's a big mystery. I mean, nobody's asking for him, so I'm really not. Look, I got other cases I got to work in here in Springfield. We got stuff going on.
That makes sense. Hey, Leland, I have a question for you.
What's that?
On a scale of 1 to 100, how is your research and library abilities?
On a scale of 1 to.
If you were to rate yourself,
I like to dabble in the books once in a while. I'd say about a 40.
Oh, one thing he says, he kind of leans back. He says, one thing happened. There was an older man that came, God, what was his name? Felwyn.
Feldspar?
Yeah, that's the one. An older guy in a tan suit did come asking around with this case. And as soon as I asked him what his interest was, he kind of clammed up and left. So I don't know. I mean, the guy wasn't forthcoming. He just did give his address, Boston resident, but
yeah, he's a dead end. We've already.
Oh, all right, yeah. That's what I kind of figured too. I didn't know if he was like a relative, like a U.S. relative of this French guy or whatever. But Plunkett's not a French name, so I don't know. Maybe he's like somebody that lived. Who knows? He kind of leans back in sophisticated resignation. You see.
I think we should probably hit both of the morgues
and their library, because I'm sure we can find something interesting.
One of the morgues. That's what the old newspapers are.
Good point.
So you're gonna hit the Springfield newspaper morgue, or where you headed?
Well, they probably have copies of those papers because they're like pretty
they're recent enough to definitely be there, probably.
Well, they're also the New York Times and the Boston Globe. It's not like it's the Dunwich Gazette or whatever. So they probably have a store of back issues at the library.
Yeah, of major papers, like the New York Times and the Globe. I'm sure they would.
So we should probably head to the library and see if there's any connection between the missing pages, the page that was in his briefcase, and that one copy of the Boston Globe, to see if there's any stories that stand out.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're here.
Of course.
I doubt the Dunwich Library is going to have that kind of info.
No. That's like a small village.
I don't know about you, but anytime I take a page out of paper, it's usually for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do the crossword without the rest of the paper holding you back.
$75 a day. I'll go to a library. Shoot.
Do you guys think it's worth going to the coroner, or the only
I don't
thing I
know
would
exactly
see,
what we gather. I would That's stiff's a stiff to me. So
Yeah, but the only thing I can see that would be of value for going to the corner
The
is
key.
trying to get that key.
that key.
Let's do it then, because we could also ask them if they happen to omit anything from the report that was
Right.
maybe a little more outlandish.
Right, and yeah, maybe get like a bead on those weird bite marks.
Yeah.
I've seen some things in my time.
All right, so let's go to the library first,
Okay.
and then go to the corner. So we'll hit both morgues.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Morgue and a morgue. All right. So you go to the Springfield Public Library. It is a fine library, as all libraries are. Everybody should patronize their local library because they're great places. And librarians are amazing people.
That's right. And if you haven't today, hug a library.
Hug a librarian. That's right. If you haven't, hug a librarian, thank a librarian.
Just
All
don't
right.
do it in front of his wife.
That's right. Right. Yes. So, okay. So you're going to the Springfield Library. What were the articles? If you could just give me what you're looking for first, I'll.
All right. So we want the full
Find it.
paper for the morning edition of the Boston Globe, February 16th.
February 16th. Okay, let me find it. This is where, this being a 1983 module, the organization's a little off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And also, if you haven't, hug your role-playing game layout specialist as well.
Yeah, because yeah.
And
All right.
remember, there's still 2 hours on the East Coast to vote for the Ennies.
That's right. That's right.
To this live. You know, there's some very deserved layout design.
Come on, Japan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wait.
sorry. What part of the New York Times? I'm sorry. I
Okay.
should.
All right, so we want the Boston Globe
Oh.
morning edition from February 16th, just the whole paper.
Boston Globe, February 16th. Let's see if I can find that first. This is like a real life.
We want that just as like something to compare to, because the other ones are easier because they're just like a couple pages.
Yeah.
Right.
So we
This is-
want to get the New York Times, February 14th, page 23 and 24, the evening.
February 14th, pages 23 and 24. NYT. Yeah. Okay.
And then page 25 from the Times from February 10th.
Page 25, February 10th. Okay. This is like a real life library use role, as I have to go through this now and find them.
Yours is like at 99, right?
Well, we'll see. It's either going to be, I'm either going to have a 99 in library use or a 99 in fast talk as I try to figure this out and make it
You know
up.
what? You're running the game. We don't know if you bullshitting or not.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I have a terrible poker face, so I'm not. Yeah.
Well, now I got cards.
All
I'll teach you a thing or two about poker.
right. Let's see here. February. Desperately seeking handout. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna read them out as I find them. I did find pages 23 and 24 of the New York Times, February 14th. So let's start with that. Okay, it says it's the on page 23. It's the society section. And there's only one article that takes up the whole page. The rest of it's advertisements on that page. So what it says headline Gala Night, and there's a summary. Black ties and ballroom gowns. Star attraction J.D. Rothenfelder. He has just returned from a successful business and pleasure trip abroad. Page 24, the headline is Expectation Concerning J.D. Rothenfelder's New Art Fund. Summary. What will he use to upset the world of art on February 21st? we've all grown accustomed, maybe a little spoiled, to his ability to locate lost art treasures. Last year, he shocked the world by auctioning the until then unknown Jonah Inside the Whale by Caravaggio. Does his vast wealth attract those treasures of the super esoterica? We can only hold our breath and wait. So, and I guess J.D. Rothenfeld, you guys can make no rolls, which are they still called no rolls in 7th edition, or is it intelligence? Or edu?
It's idea.
Yeah, there's an idea roll.
Is it idea? I thought there was a knowledge too. I thought knowledge was education.
No is
no roll. I guess this would be a no roll. This would be it'd be like full EDU for the no roll.
I make that.
Actually, I miss it.
I failed it.
I make it.
Who was that made it?
I made it. I've smuggled
Oh, Marcus, you made it.
I've smuggled a piece of art or two in my day.
Okay. And Full House, did I hear that you made it as well?
I sure did.
Okay. So the two of you, the name rings a bell. J.D. Rothenfelder is one of the richest people on the planet at this time. You probably all would know that. It would be like someone saying Vanderbilt or Rockefeller or
Don't say it.
So anyway, or Edward Chandler, perhaps, of New World Industries. You would all know that J.D. Rothenfelder is a very, very vastly wealthy person. Those of you that made your edu rolls, you recall reading that he picked up a residence. Oddly enough, this made the papers a little while ago. He picked up a residence somewhere in central Massachusetts, which seemed an odd choice. He's a very old guy. He's not a young playboy, and he bought a farmstead or something not far from Dunwich, Massachusetts. You recall that?
Do we recall the address being similar to the address where Plunkett was found?
No, you wouldn't recall that level of specificity. In fact, the articles back in the day, this was probably about maybe a year ago. Rothenfelder is notorious for wanting privacy, and the reporters at the time considered a major coup that they could even ferret out that he had picked up a property in central Massachusetts, north central Massachusetts, and there was all kinds of what does a guy like that want with a farmstead in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts. And it's never been. It was kind of one of those things that blipped up on the news for a day or two and then kind of vanished, right, as other things kind of came up. So there you have that. So that would be the February 14th, the 23rd, and the 24th from the New York Times.
How about the February 10th, page 25?
Let's see if we can find that. Let's see. Sorry, guys.
No problem. It's a 1983 scenario after all. I've seen those books.
Yeah. It's kind of rough. Yeah.
Caveat emptor.
Yeah. Here, I think I found it. Yeah, I did. So yeah, February 10th, 1922, New York Times, page 25. Let's see. What does it say here? Okay. It appears to be a list of auction dates from the New York Times. And
February?
Yeah, it says the one for February 21st. Well, no, okay. So yeah, it's all like February. It's an auction date for an art auction on February 21st.
Was that located in central Massachusetts?
It says that the auction was happening. No, the auction was happening in New York City. Yeah, so it's pretty much it's that's the only thing. There's other sort of nondescript ads, but the only thing that it seems to stand out on that page is a bunch of auction notices, but one concerning February 21st, and there's some speculation that J.D. Rothenfelder might attend. Maybe that's why.
There's no indication on what was being auctioned or anything like that.
It talks about classic and fine art.
Okay.
So it doesn't say like what exactly, but it's not like a classic car. Well, back then there wouldn't be classic cars; they would just be cars.
Well, I mean, in their own right, they are works of art.
Yeah. So it would be. It's fine art.
Back then they were concerned about classic horses.
Yeah. So it's not a livestock auction or a horse auction. It's art, and there is some. There's a little bit of given that it's all like priceless works of art. Will J.D. Rothenfelder, who has a passion for these things, make an appearance?
But that date was post when they found the body.
Yeah. February 21st is when the auction happened, apparently. February 21st. And the article itself is written on the 10th. So, and then Plunkett was discovered. When was he discovered?
12th, I think.
Was he this on the 12th? Okay.
Oh, no, it couldn't have been the 12th because it had.
Yeah, he was
February 16th, Boston Globe.
Yeah, February 16th, Boston Globe. Let's see if
The
I can find
18th
this.
is when he was discovered. There you go. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
He got into New York on the 12th.
Ah,
I know.
okay.
Notes.
Okay.
So do we have anything from the Boston Globe?
February
From February
16th, Boston Globe. Let's see if I can find that one. God, page flipping.
At least you had the foresight to photocopy them all instead of having to flip through the book.
Yeah. I thought I was prepared, but you never know until the curtain rises whether you're really prepared.
That's how it always happens. I don't know how many times I've flipped through pages mid-game. These guys know.
Ask anybody. I forget the names of my characters.
You forget the names of our characters too.
That's true. Yeah, but now if I start calling you Lucy, you can say that's my sister.
Wait, how do you know her?
All right, let me see here. Desperately looking. People waiting. Pressure rising. Goodness gracious. Boston Globe. Where are you, Boston Globe? Terrible.
Hiding in the bushes.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find it. Is that it? February 16th. All right. I'm going to give this 30 more seconds, and then I'm going to pull a rabbit out of my hat. Let's see here.
This is where it gets interesting.
Again.
All right. Oh. Okay, here we are. Okay. It's a business report in the Boston Globe. And it says that Rothenfelder Foundation establishes trust fund for the restoration and preservation of national heritage sites. 6 regional areas and headquarters are mentioned. Tombstone, Arizona, Los Altos Majeres, California, Petersburg, Virginia, Plymouth, Massachusetts, Fort Apache, Kansas, and New Orleans, Louisiana. And then it says underneath that, certain worthy structures scattered about these regions will be purchased and reconstructed and or restored to their original visages. It's not known how much will be budgeted to do this, although Rothenfelder certainly has the funds to do so. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's this sort of, yeah. Apparently, this Rothenfelder guy has made plans to restore a number of historic buildings in various areas of the country.
Must be nice to be rich.
Must be nice to be rich. Yeah, yeah. So there's that.
All right. So we know that Plunkett is an art dealer, right? We know that Rothenfelder has a yearly art auction that is somehow shocking.
Yeah.
And we know that the auction has taken place, but Plunkett, is it Plunkett or Plunkett?
Plunkett.
Plunkett never made it because he's dead.
Yep.
And for some reason, Plunkett cared about the rehabbing of 6 historic sites scattered around the U.S.
Or, well, Rothenfelder did. And Plunkett was...
But Plunkett had the article. I mean...
Right. Plunkett had the article that Rothenfelder was doing this.
So he was probably the world's biggest Rothenfelder fan.
Apparently. Seemed to have a vast interest in this person. And does anybody have art history?
No.
No.
Okay. You can make a, then I guess it would be a hard edu roll, hard no roll.
I actually
No.
knew that.
Okay. So Marcus comes through. How about Smith and Smith? Have we got any?
I've smuggled a few works of art tonight.
Yeah, you've smuggled a few works of art. Yeah, maybe you.
I'm more into the written arts rather than the.
I have provided some of the art for some of these auctions.
Yeah, you've probably seen. Yeah, you've seen the dark corners of certain warehouses where things are kept. And what you know, Marcus, is that when it says like, will Rothenfelder, will he shock at this auction? In addition to purchasing a lot of art, he will sell art as well. And sometimes he'll just show it off at these auctions. Like he's not even selling it, or he's there to purchase, but he's also there to show off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the guy has found works of art by artists, by these sort of classical artists that nobody has known ever existed. In fact, people have claimed, forgery, falsity, all of this kind of stuff. But then, like, they've had art experts, like, look them over, and they turn out to be authentic. They turn out to be like, this is unmistakably a Michelangelo. This is unmistakably a Caravaggio. And then, where did you find this? And then Rothenfelder is typically very coy and mysterious about his, his sources and all that.
What a guy.
So maybe you've talked with like people in your network, and everybody seems to know of this or has brought it up, but nobody seems to know who his guy is. How's he getting this stuff? Mm-hmm. So it sends the art world to Twitter when he goes to these auctions and things, not only for like the vast amounts of money that he spends on new acquisitions, but also the bit of show and tell or show but not tell as he brings these things out. And then so he's kind of famous for having funded the discovery of all of these these artworks that have been previously undocumented.
Right. So he's kind of like a hipster,
I guess. He's very aged. So he's not really like hip, I guess.
To be a hipster, but
he's more of he's provocative, I guess, in his own way. He's a weird guy because he's very mysterious and private on the one hand, but then he likes to kind of make these splashes in the art world. He's an avid art collector, and then he comes out with these finds. And, people, there've been a couple of voices of dissent saying they've got to be forgeries or fakes. But then all of the art experts that have been brought forward say, no, we've checked them. The style is authentic to this one or that one. So they've all been, with a bit of a head scratch, they've all been verified as authentic and added to the rolls of the art known to be made by this or that artist. So,
Mhm.
so he's kind of a weird guy like that.
Eddie has a place in Dunwich.
Which is really weird. Yeah, that's
Who
kind of
the hell
weird too.
goes to Dunwich?
Yeah, it's the middle of nowhere.
Who the
It's
hell
not.
knows where the hell Dunwich is? You
Oh,
know?
well, Dunwich, you go west on the Aylesbury Pike.
Oh, I can find it.
Traveler
Yeah,
takes the wrong fork on the Aylesbury Pike. Yeah. So, who knows? Who knows what's going on out there? So yeah, that's the newspaper morgue at the library, the
Right.
Springfield Library.
Let's go see what this key's all about.
Okay. So you go to the coroner's office for the key. All right. So it's not far to the coroner's office. It's in downtown Springfield. And when you get there, to get in to see the coroner. Or yeah, you get in to see the coroner. I mean, the place is dead most of the time.
No.
No.
Yes. And so you get there, and Spurious is almost a cartoon caricature of a coroner. I mean, he's tall, he's cadaverously thin and pale. Doesn't look like he gets outdoors much. He's sort of constantly wringing his hands, and he's very sort of gallows humor. So as you four go to his, he seems kind of excited. No one ever comes looking for the coroner, so he's kind of excited to have company. And he's very accommodating. How may I help you, gentlemen?
So we were hired to look into the death of somebody who you actually provided the report for. It was a gentleman by the name of Plunkett.
Yes.
Beat to a pulp and frozen in Dunwich.
Most unfortunate, most terrible way to go. It looked like he was subjected to prolonged, excruciating attention by someone who definitely wished to exert a maximum of suffering upon his mortal frame.
He had the player laughing, not character.
Well, I'll never forget that one. It was not that long ago. What, maybe 2-3 months ago? I remember the teeth marks in particular. I mean, there were all sorts of marks of abuse on that poor fellow's frame. But I remember the teeth marks. Yes. They were the largest human teeth that I've ever seen.
That's one of the things we wanted to ask you about.
In
your report, and it was a great report, very thorough.
Well, thank you. I tried to make everyone's last record on this immortal coil. There should be due diligence given to every aspect of them. They're everyone that is important that has walked the earth, and it's important that in their last moments that I document what I can.
You had said that there were at least 4 sets of teeth marks found on his body, and 3 you identified as human.
Yes.
And 1 you had identified that it was of an unknown animal with a human, I guess, signature to its bite, but just big.
Indeed.
How big would that person need to be?
Oh, you would have no problem recognizing this person. Their head and neck would have to be massive. to inflict the kind of freakishly, P.T. Barnum circus like massive to inflict such damage.
How about if it was inflicted by a non-human primate, such as an ape or an orangutan? Would that provide that kind of teeth mark?
An ape? I suppose, but apes are in Africa, aren't they? Or is it India? No, I suppose maybe are orangutans in India and apes in Africa, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure.
Well,
I suppose
generally that's what they are, but people like P.T. Barnum have been known to bring them over to the States.
You're right. It had occurred to me that maybe it was a circus animal. I just assumed it was
necessarily have to be a big giant person. It could be a big giant.
It could, yeah. I do love the circus,
Who doesn't?
Oh, I know.
The way they treat the animals is great.
Oh, yeah, well, they're only brute animals. You can't expect them to be treated anyway like people.
That's true.
I like to go to the circus. I love to watch the trapeze artists because at any moment, their hands could slip, a little bit of sweat on the palm, and next thing you know, I'm having an up-close and personal interview with them. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. I love the circus. Or the lion tamer. Can you imagine if, sometimes that whip goes down or that chair gets dropped, and the next thing you know, once again, I'm spending a little quality time with that person. I do love the circus.
In your opinion?
Yes, my opinion.
What kind of person would be able to inflict the what you described as scientific torture on Mr. Plunkett?
My goodness, it would be someone that has somewhat of an understanding of the human anatomy.
Like a coroner.
Like a coroner, of course. A coroner, or a medical doctor, or even someone like a field nurse or medic. Someone that has studied human anatomy to some degree, knows where the centers of pain are, knows where to exert a premium of physical suffering. So, yeah, someone of my skills, certainly, but why would I wish to do such a thing? Why would any coroner wish? We are more concerned with documenting the evidence of human suffering, not necessarily inflicting it. But, the circus is pretty wonderful. I'd like to go to the circus now that we've been talking about the circus. They do have wonderful Cracker Jacks and popcorn and, the elephants and the lights and things. And there is always...
He seems pretty enthralled by what he's talking about.
Yes.
Do I see this key lying around?
Okay. You don't see. I mean, it's an office, so he's got all kinds of stuff all over the place. You don't see you might see keys, but maybe they're keys to the drawers in his office, things like that. So you don't see the key, perhaps.
I'm just going to flat out ask. It also said that in the report that there was a key found on Plunkett's body.
Yes.
Removed. Is there any particular reason why you removed that key?
Well, it looked interesting. I just sort of picked it up, and it just seemed an odd thing for him to have, I guess, and so I just sort of lifted it to see. Oh yes. Would you like to see it?
I would love.
Yes, we'd love to see it.
Oh, certainly. Let's see. I know it's around here somewhere. And he pats down his office area. Oh, here it is. And he holds up a key on it's a single key on a wooden little tag, little fob. And it says 222 on it. and above that it says 222, and then it has on the bottom it says South Station Locker Co.
When you picked up this key,
Yes.
have you ever been to Boston?
Have I?
Yes. Well, maybe
Oh,
to see the circus.
oh yes, I've been to Boston, of course.
Have you ever been to the train station, like South Station?
I suppose. I think I went down to see my cousin in North Carolina once. I think I went down through the train station, yes.
Did you happen to see the lockers?
I suppose they have lockers, yes.
They do.
Uh,
That is a key to a locker at South Station. Specifically, key to the locker 222.
I suppose it is, yes, yes.
The police report mentioned that he had a piece of paper in his briefcase with that particular number, 222, written on it.
You don't say. I didn't read the police report. I just filled out the coroner's report.
No,
That's very interesting.
It would be mighty helpful in our investigation if we can get that key so we can see if there's something in that locker that might pertain to helping us solve the murder.
Hmm.
You would have done not only your job, but helped us in our job as well. I mean, that's double duty. That's above and beyond.
Indeed.
I'm ready to make a charm roll.
Yeah, if you could make a charm roll.
I made that hard.
Well, since you put it that way,
Thick.
yes, I suppose that would be helpful, wouldn't it? What's that?
I might even bat an eye at him.
All right. I suppose you're right. It would be helpful. I don't see the harm. If you wish to borrow it, just please bring it back in a few days.
Sure.
Okay. Just like that, he sort of nonchalantly hands you the key.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Could you do me a favor and find out if the circus is in town? I'd love to. Now that we've been talking about it, I'd love to go.
You'll be the first one we'll let know if we find out if there's one in town.
That would be wonderful. I do so much love the circus.
Never would have guessed, sir. You have a good day.
You as well. Stay healthy.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are we outside now?
You can be sure.
That guy scared the crap out of me. I don't know about you guys, but I do not want to pay that man a visit again.
If there's nothing in locker 222, we'll be paying this man a visit in a heartbeat. We'll be sneaking right back in.
I guess that's true.
Well, that's an 8-hour trip.
Yeah.
Back to Beantown. That is probably, unless...
Yeah, we have to go back home.
Well, what I'm thinking is that we have to be back in Boston in a week anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just like look in the locker before we make our report.
Okay.
I mean, the other choice is, someone goes on to Dunwich and someone goes back to Boston and checks the locker and then comes back.
Oh, no, nobody's getting out of this train wreck.
You guys are the only ones with cars, so I'm at your mercy.
Well, we'd take a train, wouldn't you?
Could take it. That's time consuming.
Well, what I'm just saying that it's an 8-hour trip. And then probably another, what did you say, 8 and then 5 back up to Dunwich from Boston?
Yeah, let me see. Travel from, let's see. I've got the travel times listed here. Here's my travel times. Okay. From Boston to Dunwich is about 6 hours.
Oh,
So Boston to Dunwich is 6 hours. Springfield to Dunwich is 5 hours.
right.
And then Springfield to Boston is 8 hours.
Well, hopefully we never have to come back to Springfield.
Well, I mean, if we do, we don't have to see this guy.
No, that's true. All right, so I guess let's just go to Dunwich, huh?
That's the plan. I mean, that was the plan when we got here yesterday.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Come here, get the information we can find, and then head there.
Yeah.
So given that you've spent some time in Springfield at the state police office, and then you've spent some time with the coroner, we're probably talking, it's probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, you've spent your morning hours in these pursuits, and then maybe you're discussing this over lunch or something. I don't know. So if you were to head to Dunwich from your present location, you'd be getting there right about sundown, right about supper time, sundown.
We could probably find lodging still.
Oh yeah.
Well, we can go to
The hotel place. that
yeah,
we
the
stayed
place
at.
where he was staying.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
The Wayward Travelers Inn.
The Wayward Travelers Inn. Yes. Okay. So to Dunwich then?
Yep, get the map out.
Dunwich.
All right. You travel due north to Dunwich.
Is like Dunwich near Canada? Oh no, I guess it'd be near Vermont, huh?
Yeah, it would be it would actually be due
Canada. I'm
south.
such an idiot.
It would either be it would be somewhere right. It's mid-state Massachusetts in the like north central. So if you were to go due north from Dunwich, you're probably going to either hit New York or New Hampshire or Vermont. One of the two. It's kind of right on that line where both of them come down.
That's kind of all of Massachusetts, though. It's just
What's that?
it's kind of all of Massachusetts. If you go north, you're either in New Hampshire or Vermont.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. We're on the pan.
But it's like central Mass. So like it's like you know how like New
Smack dab in the
Hampshire
middle.
and Vermont kind of come down and they
Mhm.
kind of like if you're way out west Mass, you go north, you hit Vermont. But if you go like sort of if you're in eastern Mass and you go up, you're in New Hampshire. So
Right.
So it's
So it's like right where those two states meet.
pretty much, yeah. So I'm not sure technically if you went due north from Dunwich if you would hit which state you would hit, but you wouldn't be too far from either one.
Either guns or maple syrup.
Okay, so the sun is going down. You're traveling from Springfield through central Mass north up into Dunwich. The country is very, very underdeveloped, very, very wild. You can see why the early denizens of Massachusetts, the Puritans, thought of the woods as a haunted sort of place, full of secrets and mysteries, because it is a very, very lonesome stretch of country. You travel for miles between little towns, and then there'll be these outlying farm buildings. But you can see where somebody could get lost in these woods at any point along the way. And it would be a very desperate thing for them because it is just miles upon miles of woodland and hills and farms, but mostly woods. And it's hilly, and some of the hills have sort of strangely rounded. You know, they're not sort of like jagged mountainy hills. They've got this sort of strange, almost as the closer you get to Dunwich, there's this sort of almost artificial quality to them, but that can't be right. But there's this odd roundedness to some of the hilltops. But finally, after driving a good 5 hours, maybe almost 6, because you've maybe took a wrong turn here or there, you roll into Dunwich. And the word that comes to mind would be decay. It's definitely one of the rattier places that you've seen. None of these places that you've passed has been sort of beautiful, I guess, or you know, this just isolation, decay. It's definitely a rundown kind of a town. There's sort of a leaden quality to it. The clouds are low. The sun is just going away when you roll in, and everything just looks shadowy and ill-kept and sort of run down. So people are giving you looks. The few people that you see out on the streets kind of you don't really see many cars at all. So people are noticing these two cars come rolling into town, and you're just getting kind of these looks.
Decked out gangster cars.
Yeah, two low slung, you know, like touring cars, you know, powerful machines, and people are just sort of turning away, and you know, or either that or they're just kind of giving you these sort of cold stares as you roll into town. And you do see hanging off of one of the buildings. It's not a very large center of town. There is a battered sign that does say the Wayward Travelers Inn. It's one of the larger buildings in the community. It looks like a 3-story. Looks like an overgrown farmhouse that's been put to the purpose of becoming an inn. And its little wooden sign is sort of swaying in the breeze.
Well,
isn't this quaint?
let's get some rooms.
It's a lot better than the forest out there.
Just keep your receipts.
That's true. He's covering all the expenses.
Oh,
Feldspar.
Rothenberg.
Feldspar, keeping it real.
All right. So you guys head into the building?
Oh yes.
Okay. There's nobody behind the desk when you step in. Everything's very faded. You know, kind of a little dusty. It's and there's like the little bell, and you can see like the little what do they call those things? Where they all like the keys and like the little stuff behind the desk is there.
Cubbies.
Cubbies. Thank you. Yeah, cubbies for a couple of rooms. There's keys, but there's nobody. There's nobody there. There's looks like there may be a living area behind the desk. There's like a little hall.
Did we have Oh, Brian froze.
Yeah, he got a little staticky there for a second too.
Brian froze. Well, all right. Brian, if you can hear us. Nope. I thought that was him. He's probably not looking at the chat either. Well, hey.
Meta talk real quick. This
planning.
This hotel, how big do you think the owner's mouth is going to be?
What the hell kind of question is that?
I'm gonna see. I bet his
I'm
mouth.
talking metaphorically or literally?
I'm talking about, you know, how big are his incisors? How big is between teeth?
I figured you were speaking
Literally.
Yeah, I don't really have the intelligence or education to go into that whole like non-concrete world. That abstract bullshit.
You know, I feel like you've made great strides in realizing there's this thing as subtlety. It's a start. We can work with this. It shows that you can be taught.
Right. Now that he's gone, Ghoul, we all in agreement?
Definitely
Totally
cool.
not cool. Totally not cool.
You don't think it's
Fucking Wilbur Waitley's out there eating people.
Yeah,
Is his brother? His brother's still loose.
Oh, yeah. This could be pre-Dunwich horror, I guess.
I don't know Dunwich horror, so
Well, yeah, but
what's up with the
I guess it could be a ghoul, but like something's odd about our patron too.
yeah.
Gotta remember that.
Well, I was making a Golden Child reference when we were doing that.
How much do we think that he's Rockefeller or whatever the guy's name is?
Yeah,
But I think our Patreon is a fucking Migo. So
That's what I was thinking.
well, there's nothing to say that Rodderfeller, whatever the hell his name is, isn't Amigo.
that's true. That's true.
Hey,
All
buddy,
right.
we weren't talking about anything.
No, we weren't. Not at all.
How we doing,
Go
guys?
watch the broadcast later.
We weren't
I'm sorry
metagaming
about
or
that.
anything.
Can you all see and hear me now?
Yep.
We can see you, but you're very muted.
I'm very muted. Okay. I'm on my iPad now. My computer just crashed. So I'm sorry about that. My computer just crashed. Let me see if I can pull back up on the computer. I got you on the iPad right now.
The iPad's got like fantastic camera.
Yeah, you can see all the imperfections here, but not good sound.
No, but I bet if you plug your headphones
If you
in,
put headphones in, it'd be fine.
I would, but the headphones are like USB, and the iPad doesn't have one of those USB jacks.
Oh, that's right, because Apple's a bunch of dicks.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try the. I'm sorry about this. I'm gonna try to just try to log back in using the computer. But in the meantime, I'll just sort of soft shoe while we're so we can keep going. So I think I can get right back on the other machine, but so you all get to Dunwich. You all see this. You're all in this sort of tumble down, decrepit inn, and there's nobody at the door, at the desk rather.
how many keys are in hanging by the cubbies?
There appear to be looks like there are 4 rooms for let, and there's a key next to each, like room 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a key hanging off of each one.
So it doesn't seem like there's any occupants.
Doesn't seem like you're right. There's nobody occupying the inn right now.
If there's no one at the desk, I want to quickly check the book, see if there's been many people checking in and out.
Okay. Give me a luck roll just to make sure that nobody comes wandering in as you
Lucky man.
as you try that.
All right. Ooh, 81 out of 75. Miss.
Okay. Hey, all right.
Turn off the iPad.
That is weird to see. that was
Now can I turn this off?
Yeah, turn the iPad off.
Yeah, come on, iPad. Sorry, guys.
Beautiful. Double click on the thing and flick it up.
non-Euclidean streaming.
Okay, am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, the thing just the regular computer just crashed on me. It just said something about Windows dump, and I don't know.
Windows does like to take a dump once in a while. That is what
I guess so, yeah, it was
just
just-
that is.
Crash dump. It said Windows crash dump. So I don't know. It's me and computers. It's terrible. So as you're full house, as you're like reaching for the ledger, this woman comes bustling out of the back hallway. What can I do for you?
Hello there, man. We were looking for a place to stay, actually.
Well, you found it. The Wayward Travelers Inn. We're the only place in town.
And what a lovely establishment you are.
Well, we keep it clean.
That's better than most places I've stayed.
Yeah. My name's Dorothy Hertig. Yeah, why don't you sign the ledger? She actually takes what you were reaching for, Full House. She just kind of turns it around so you can, and you can see, in fact, the last person that was here. Looks well. Actually, they would have been like. Looks like it was a traveling salesman that came through.
But he's selling windmills.
Looks like a traveling from the Gorham Silversmith Company came through a couple of weeks ago. And then before that was Plunkett. So
really
apparently,
don't get much business this way.
Get much business, right?
no, not really. My husband left me this place, and he died back in 1919.
Oh, you have my condolences.
It's good man. But anyway, so I just get a little lonely. I keep the place open mostly for company more than anything else. But we don't get too many travelers out this way.
It's a bit off the beaten track, but ma'am, if you'd like to chew my ear off sometimes, I'm more than willing.
Oh, well, that's very nice.
So in my fake name.
She doesn't seem to care. You can write it whatever you want in there. She's like, so what brings you to Dunwich? You visiting kin, or are you passing through, or what brings you to our little corner of Massachusetts?
Well, actually, we're here on a bit of business about, well, this particular gentleman right here, and I tapped the name of Plunkett.
Oh, yes. Well, all I can tell you is that the police made one hell of a mess when they were searching room number 3. That's where that Mr. Plunkett fellow was staying for that one night. Yeah. So you're looking into it? Were you related to him?
Yeah, we're here on behalf of somebody that is a good acquaintance of his that feels like the police made more than just a mess of the room.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's too bad what happened to him. People around here are kind of rattled, but sounded like he ran into some rough customers.
Yeah, nothing like that's ever happened around here before, has it?
Well, we got some strange types. Old Wizard Watley comes through every once in a while, babbling about different things, and that strange daughter, his Lavinia, and of course Wilbur. He's an odd one, but the Watleys have always been a little strange. In fact, their cousin, his place burned down not too long ago. But they're odd folk.
It seems like a place like Dunwich would have a lot of old families here, right?
Oh, indeed, yes. Yeah, many go back to the Revolutionary War and before then.
Yeah. What about anybody new? Not just passing through. We heard rumors that one of the extremely wealthy people from probably. Do we know if he's from New York?
He has houses like in New York and in Europe and
Not
various
just say
places.
New York because it sounds
Yes.
It's from outside.
Yeah.
Bought some property up here recently.
Oh yeah, you must be talking about that Rothenfelder fella.
Yeah.
He's a couple miles out of town on the old road. Yeah, we see his man come in once in a while. Strange fella, doesn't talk any. He's got some scars on his face. Looks like he'd been in a knife fight or something.
Ooh.
Pleasant enough. Just doesn't talk much. Just comes in with little notes for things. Goes to the general store, the dry goods place, puts down a little piece of paper, and people fill the order. He nods, and off he goes.
Where exactly is Rotterfeller's place?
Oh, he's a few miles outside of town proper. Let me see now. This is where I gotta get my map of Dunwich. If you go if you go north on Bloody Blah Road, you can't miss the place. He's got the old Graveson farm that he bought. Yeah, the old Graveson farm. That was a family that was hit hard by the influenza epidemic. Pretty much, place was vacant for a few years.
Oh,
And then, what do you know? Some rich guy from out of town bought it.
you bought it from the bank.
Evidently.
It's always a shame when the outsiders come in and start buying up good places.
Is the Graveson farm, is that anywhere near where Plunkett was found?
We would actually know that, I believe, because I believe you did say it was like X amount of feet away from the farm.
Yeah,
Remember
you
the
would know
exact
that.
number.
You would know that it wasn't that far away. It was probably less than a mile away from the farm that the body was found.
See, I was listening.
We don't have much to do with old Rothenfelder. He doesn't. Apparently, he bought the place. I don't know if he's there, if he's just got his caretaker there, but all we see is that mute fella come in every once in a while, buys supplies, and then off he goes.
How big is Rockefeller's man? Has he got a big
No.
Yeah.
What did you, I missed that. What did you say?
Well, I was just wondering, is Rockefeller's man, would you describe him as a big fella?
Let me see now. How big is Rothenfelder's
On
man?
a scale of 1 to 100, how big?
Is he something in the 90th percentile?
No, well, he's I would say he's bigger than most, but I wouldn't say he's gonna be he's not a big hulking man by any sense. Kind of tall, broad-shouldered,
Big mouth?
big mouth. I don't know. I wouldn't say big mouth. Just certainly doesn't say anything. That's for sure.
Just wondering.
No, he just a guy. I don't know about big mouth. He does have a dog with him once in a while. Big animal. None too friendly either.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of savage, you know. Maybe Pat Wolf. But he usually keeps it in the car and keeps people from the car. I'll tell you that.
Interesting. Did Plunkett leave anything behind that the police didn't get?
Well, I got this key.
Oh,
Yeah, tell you what, I think it would really help us if we could maybe stay in room 3 tonight, just to kind of get the whole experience of his last couple days.
I think we could stay in rooms 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, yeah, because there's
He
only
deserves good patronage is helpful as you mean.
And we are on that contract. We may as well share the love.
there's only one bed in each room. So if you all want to double up, you're gonna have to.
No, by all means.
No, that's all right. I don't want my old room.
That the key that he left. Do you still have it?
Oh yes, I do. It's right here.
Is it? It's not labeled 222 on it.
Uh,
Maybe Penn Station.
yeah. You would be correct on all counts.
Yeah. Is it? Interestingly enough, and I actually say that to her before she hands me the key.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, this key is part of our investigation, and I would much appreciate it if we would be able to borrow that key.
Well, you're gonna have to make a social roll of some kind. What? How do you wish to convey that?
Oh, it's charm. That's my own
Okay.
skill. I can I push that roll? Are we
Sure.
allowing pushing rolls? All right.
You
Yeah.
can push rolls, sure.
Yeah, I bail on it. Maybe get into a coughing fit and then then mention how lovely the overhead lighting makes her face.
All right, she's all right. Give it a go.
Come on, don't fail this. Because if you pushing it, that means I can't try.
I make it.
Okay, so you comment on that bit of a push. You comment on how the electric lighting in here is really
Flattering to her.
flattering to the angles of her face. And she says, "Well, yeah." She says,
Makes your
I
face look
suppose-
very non-Euclidean.
but you know the old electric in the old farmhouse here. And she hasn't quite handed it over yet. She's like holding the keys up, and she says, I appreciate how you think that this is accentuating my beauty, but you know, the old farmhouse, the electric in here is terrible, and I've been wanting to get it fixed up now for so long. And it's just so expensive, though, to get somebody that knows how to work on wires and things to come way out here in the middle of nowhere. I don't suppose if I were to put a little bit extra on your bill, that maybe I could get the electric man to come out here and help me out. If you, maybe we could do one of those quid pro quos, you might say.
You know
And
what?
that's actually going to help him on this. Ma'am, it would be my honor. You actually remind me of my old grandmother.
Oh, aren't you a sweet one? And so she will actually, we don't have to get into dollars and cents, but she's actually going to really jack up the price on the rooms.
That's okay.
But
I believe that our patron can afford it.
yeah, you plus expenses, so you probably can just pass it along. And passing, she does. She gives you the key.
All right.
Everybody else, I'm willing to stiff in this place. She's been nice.
Yeah, she seems like just a regular, salt of the
She
earth.
just seems lonely. I can't be mean to a lonely old lady.
Yep.
Yet.
Yeah, she says, now that you're official patrons of the Wayward Traveler Inn, I've got to give you the rules. And the rules are that smoking is only allowed in the lounge area. She motions to the room that you're standing in. I will prepare a meal for you if you give me 3 hours notice. Takes a while to fire up the old stove. And if it's breakfast that you're looking for, I'm going to need to know the night before. Now, there is a fine restaurant in town which does serve dinner every evening. That would be Wheatley's if you prefer to eat out. And there's a public phone that's located down the street in the Dunwitch Municipal Building. The operator is located there, but he closes at 8 in the evening and doesn't open up to about between 5 and 6 each morning. And there is a telegraph located in the general store for emergencies. You got all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Well, then welcome to our fine community. I hope that you enjoy your time in Dunwich and your time at the Wayward Travelers Inn.
Well, we appreciate it.
And with that, she doesn't actually take you up to your room. She just gives you each a key to rooms 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then she says something about her favorite radio program coming on. So she's making for the back rooms where she can listen in.
I bids my farewells to her and head up to my room.
Okay, if you need anything, just come back down and tap the bell, and I'll come right out.
Yeah, let's meet up in room 3.
Yeah, we're gonna search that
Hold on.
room.
Should we tell her that we're gonna want breakfast in the morning as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make
Okay.
sure we order. Can we all
We'll do
order
that.
first?
No.
I'm
We're not
kidding.
gonna spend that time. All right. Let's check this room out.
So, Art, you're going to ask her for breakfast in the morning?
Yeah, because we can go hit the place you just mentioned for dinner right now.
Okay, fair enough.
After we're done with this.
Okay. She's like, fine, I'll get you a nice country breakfast. We've got some of the biggest hens around, and the eggs they lay are pretty remarkable. So we've got some very interesting livestock in Dunwich. I'm sure you'll enjoy the food here.
Sounds great.
Great. Okay. Dinner, breakfast, what time did you want it? I can make it and have it ready anytime between 6 and 8.
6 sounds lovely.
6 a.m. it is. Early risers. I like that. I'm from New Hampshire originally, and we're early risers in New Hampshire too. Not like these Massachusetts people. The closer you get to Boston, they're soft.
Ma'am, I appreciate early risers. I'm a farm boy myself, so.
Oh, there you go.
Like,
You know what I'm talking about. Well, very good. I got to get back. My radio program's about to start. I'm going to get out there and listen in.
You enjoy your evening.
You as well. You as well. Take care now. And with that, she bustles down the hallway and out of sight, and you can hear the scratchy noises of a radio broadcast.
It's a nice old bed. Yeah, I plumped my bags down in my room, and who's gonna end up with room 3 anyway?
He said he wanted it.
Okay,
well, I just plumped my bags down in my room and come back.
Okay, so Full House, you're in room number 3. Everybody else is in the other rooms. It's depressingly ordinary. I mean, you can. We'll breeze through it. You don't even have to make rolls. There's, you can essentially ransack it without destroying it. There's nothing out of. He like got the room, put his stuff in there, and then like left for supper and never came back. So it's not like he even stayed overnight. He just he was barely there.
You try and go through his contents one more time.
Okay.
I don't think his contents are
His contents were removed. Yeah, his contents were removed by the state police.
If anything, we'd be trying to see if he maybe dropped something in the room.
Well,
okay.
That and it didn't happen.
Yeah, you just to make a long story short, you look under the beds. There's not a lot of hidey holes here. It's not a fancy room. It's very basic. There's nothing. He didn't. Well, actually, you can give me a spot hidden just to confirm that he didn't hide anything.
Okay.
So.
I fail.
I got it hard.
Okay. So Leland is doing some good search. Everybody's searching, but Leland is better at it than everybody else at the moment. Leland, I mean, you guys can pretty much confirm, or you suspect it. Yeah, Leland, you're looking everywhere.
Long enough to leave nothing, so he ain't nothing here.
Yeah, you even look to see, did he tape something under the bedstead or behind the?
I did find his nickel though.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, great. You find an old nickel in the closet. But other than that, no, it's a very basic room. No mysteries. But it is dark outside now. It's full dark. It's cold. The wind. It's an old building. It's kind of creepy. As Dunwich is very, very dark. They don't have street lighting, nothing like that. So it is dark. You can see, looking out your windows, you can see other buildings here and there that have lights on, and then you think you see farther out in the hills. It almost looks like fires burning on the tops of some of the mountains, but you're not quite sure if you're really seeing what you're seeing. It's sort of these indeterminate lights that seem to wink on and off on some of the hills, the wooded hills farther out.
You said it was April?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that about the same direction as the farmstead that Rottenfeller bought?
Yeah, Rothenfelder. Well, the lights in the hills seem to be at different vantages. Like as you look out of different windows and things, you can see other lights on hills. So including the Rothenfelder estate.
Well, she did mention that one of these guys was a wizard.
Yeah, she mentioned something about an old Watley guy, Wizard Watley.
Hey, I'm not one for believing in superstition, but I'll let you know this weird stuff happens in small towns. That's all I got to say about it.
Because this is 1922, and in HPL's Dunwich Horror, that was 1928. So this is Dunwich before the Dunwich Horror.
If we're going out to get dinner, I'm going to ring the bell on our way out.
Okay. She comes bustling out. Yes, what can I do for you, Mr. Willowy?
I am so sorry. And you could call me Willows, really.
All right.
I'm so sorry to disturb you. And just one quick question, and then you can get back to your radio program.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Plunkett, when he came by, did he talk about what he was doing here at all. I don't need to know what he was doing here, but I just want to know if he was broadcasting what he was doing here.
You can make a charm roll because now you're asking her to talk about another guest, even though he's dead.
I failed that. I'm not going to push it.
Okay, yeah. She's like, I really can't say. He wasn't here very long. And she just shuts down after that.
Okay. Just curious. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome there, Mr. Willows. No problem, Mr. Willows. You have a good night. And off she goes.
No, Mister, just Willows.
Oh, just well. All right, there, Willows. Very good.
My friends call me.
You can see her. She's working it around in her mouth, and she's kind of like, It's okay. Willows. It might be her New Hampshire upbringing. She's used to, a little more conservative, like Mr. This or that. So, but whatever. She's like, all right. Willows, have a nice night. And off she goes.
I just find it odd that that Plunkett was picked up basically going out the door, more or less.
Yeah.
Well, if we make it back here in one piece tonight, I'll see if I can maybe sweet talk into talking to us tomorrow. That's not to push too much. We just met the lady.
I'm just thinking there's like just two things.
Oh, I agree. He probably did maybe mention something. I mean, he wouldn't just disappear if somebody didn't know something about him already.
He either mentioned something or Rottefeller, whatever the fuck his name is.
Rothenfelder
knew he was coming.
That JD bloke.
So, yeah. That's all.
Okay. So, yep, very good. So you guys are off to the Wheatley Tavern for an evening meal. Is that right?
Yep.
It is.
Okay. So you step outside, and it is undeniably a strange, sort of spooky town. Without the lights and things, you almost feel like you could be back 200 years and you wouldn't know. It's the 20th century hasn't arrived at Dunwich.
Hey, Brian, I just wanted to say, so this doesn't get sprung later on, that I have a 30-06 rifle hidden in my car. It's,
okay.
I don't have it on me, but it's it's
in the car.
It's in the car, ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a Lee Enfield.
It's not out in the open.
Right.
It's in my compartment.
Okay.
I got a Lee Enfield in the car and a 45 on me.
My Enfield is kind of on me, but I would love to stash it in a car instead of carry this thing around.
Oh yeah, I'd be more than willing to let you put your gun. So it's 2 Lee Enfields in my car. Then if you were riding with me, whoever you were riding with, I guess you were riding with me.
I'll ride with my gun. So
I'm carrying my 32 revolver on me.
Okay.
So 2 of us are armed at present.
And
I have 3 of us are armed at present.
I also have a blackjack that I keep in my pocket.
Okay.
But not a personal firearm.
Okay. So long arms are in the vehicles.
Yes.
And then the two of the 4 have small handguns, and then Marcus, you have a blackjack.
Yeah.
Tucked away. Okay. So as you're walking over from the inn to the restaurant, it is like traveling back in time, because the houses here are all centuries old. There are no lights on the street corners or anything like that. Most of the roads are just dirt tracks. And you're thinking, if you were a movie producer and you wanted to set a film in an early colonial town, you could do no better than this. The place just looks like a throwback in all ways. You pass 3 houses, and then you get to the tavern. So you realize you've probably past right where Plunkett was picked up, like somewhere on this very short walk. Probably takes you about less than 10 minutes to go from point A to point B. You realize it was along this route somewhere that something happened to him, that he was picked up. However, that doesn't happen to you. Nothing until what happens, other than just being a little strange and spooky. You get to the tavern. As you go in, you can each make a spot hidden roll as you pass through into the lighted interior of the tavern.
I make mine. What
we rolling?
All right.
Are we rolling?
Spot.
Okay.
I made mine.
That is hard for me.
Okay. So it sounds like everybody made it. Spencer, did you make it?
I failed.
Okay. All right. Spencer, maybe you're the first in the door and you just didn't see it. The other three, you see a small, unobtrusive bronze plaque next to the door as you go in. It says Wheatley's Tavern. It's dark. There's no light. That's probably why you missed it, Full House. But the others see it in the light of the opening door. It says Wheatley's Tavern, established 1722, restored June 6th, 1918, by the Rothenfelder Foundation.
Ooh.
I tell you, this man just got his hands in everything.
Yeah.
Which man is that?
Rothenfelder.
Oh, yeah, Rothenfelder. I don't know about him.
Well, I'm not so sure about him either. What's a big city man got interested in a small town like this in their tavern?
Well, the plaque says it's a historical site.
Fair enough.
As you step in, there's a very bored-looking teenage girl dressed in colonial garb.
What?
I'm so sorry.
Do you say that when you walk in?
I did.
I am so sorry.
And she doesn't. She just kind of, looks at, even with the so sorry. She's a 16-year-old girl, and she's not where she wants to be. She does this awkward curtsy, and she says, "Greetings, my good sirs. How prithee may I help you this evening?"
Miss, please, you don't have to do all that with us.
You see her eyes roll over to the kitchen area, and she says, "It will be my pleasure to host you in an authentically historical setting."
Oh,
Aren't you just chipper?
Does she have a name tag?
Do you have any flair?
Yeah, about to say she don't, I bet.
She does not have a name tag. She's wearing the bonnet and the whole thing, and the bonnet's kind of askew a little bit, and she's kind of plucking at her little front dress a little bit. She's just like, "Prithee, may I take thee to the booth?"
Ye may.
Yes, you may.
Follow me.
Taketh us to the bootheth.
She kind of clumps over. She's got the colonial shoes, the buckle shoes, and
Are we about to have a maypole or something to be erected in town?
Like a witch.
again, just she's just like, and she hands you the here's the authentic bill of fare, and she places the 4 menu cards down, and it's all like Yankee pot roast and Miskatonic River fish catch, and
yeah, that's what we want.
what's that?
The Innsmouth special.
Yeah.
No.
I want the Innsmouth caviar.
This
Big
this fish tastes just like chicken.
I will be back with your bread. Would anybody like some coffee or fresh water?
Fresh water would be amazing.
Coffee would be lovely, madam.
You don't got any of that spicy water, do you?
I am sorry, sir, but we are in full observance of the 18th Amendment.
I thought this was a historical occasion. I'm sorry.
I'll take the flat water as well.
Very good. It would be my pleasure to serve you. I will be back in a moment.
I hope it comes out.
Clomp, 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 clomp. Off she goes.
I have never felt so bad for a child in my life.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh my God.
I'm starting to think that our JD has a sort of fetish here.
Wow.
She comes back a very few minutes later, and she's got some cornbread, and she's got the coffee and the waters, and she plunks it down, and have you had enough time? Oh, prithee, sirs, have you had enough look over our bill of fare to make your selections?
What do you recommend?
Oh, I like the chicken pie myself.
Chicken pie.
But
well, I will also have the chicken pie.
Chicken pie. How about you two gentlemen?
I'll have the
Gentle
chicken pie as well. That actually
chicken pie, 3 chicken pies. What about you, good sir?
Well, I'll have your Innsmouth catch, please.
The Innsmouth catch.
Sorry, I mean the Miskatonic.
The Miskatonic trout. Very good. It is delicious.
I feel so bad for this character.
She tugs on her bonnet a little bit, and
all right. So
and you hear like as the door, Dad, 3 chicken pies and a fish.
I look around the place. And Samuel Adams would be ashamed.
Yeah. Serving his beer.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, gentlemen, I would appreciate you not trying to disparage my current business situation by saying that they should serve liquor here.
I didn't want liquor. I wanted spicy water.
Same difference.
What?
Tomato.
Look, give me a bit and I may have something for you.
There's a few other patrons in here, just a very few. They look like traveling folk. They don't look like locals. There looks to be a couple of salesmen maybe just passing through. And that's it. There's like the 4 of you and like 2 sales guys. In fact, you saw like their vehicle was parked outside. And they're just finishing up and put their money down and like walk out as you guys. So pretty much you get the place to yourselves at this point. The girl comes out with after a little while, she comes out with the 3 chicken pies and the fish, and she puts it down. And then she asks if you want more water or coffee, and then she goes over, she starts cleaning up the other table where the 2 guys were, and starts bringing that back to the kitchen. And you can hear the clanking of dishes and such in the other room. So there you go.
So what do you guys think? Tomorrow morning, or even tonight, actually, it might even be better at night. Even though it's creepy as all get out here.
What are you guys' appearances? Like apps?
Mine is what is mine? Mine's 75. He ain't quite as pretty as his sister is, but he's still handsome.
Yeah.
I look like James Coburn.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's mine is 60.
All right.
40.
James Coburn.
This way, Leland looks a little bit like Chris Hemsworth.
I have an appearance of 30.
Wow. Okay. Well, looking
No, Mongo.
looking a bit like Chris Hemsworth, you notice that Ye Colonial Lass seems to be coming around quite often asking if you want more coffee or water.
Yeah.
Why yes. Smash.
All right. Yeah, she seems to be, she's sort of you're handsome, and so she's 6. Yeah, you're handsome, you're urbane. She's 16 in a dead-end little podunk town. So, she's
I've gotten worse lusty looks from older women. It's fine.
she's just kind of like, you notice that she's coming around a bit more than maybe is necessary, and just sort of awkwardly, do you need anything more? Is there anything, prithee, gentlemen? Can I do anything else for you?
I just want to say I'm glad that Wes is not here.
Oh my God, yes, because this would get so awkward.
It would take like
That
30
is not
minutes.
about to get.
It would take 30 minutes, and she's.
I'm gonna hit on her.
Who's gonna hit on her?
Oh,
I'm not gonna hit on her.
And she's
I'm
60.
fucking 25. That's cradle robbery. He's not opposed to letting her fawn over him, but he's not gonna hit on her.
Towards the end of the meal, as you see her, like she's just coming by, like asking if you want more water, and then like the kitchen door opens and you see her like look back. She rolls her eyes and kind of goes, "Oh no." As a man comes out, he's got reddish hair. He also is dressed in colonial garb. You do notice a family resemblance. This is a guy, he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s. He's got a reddish beard, reddish hair, dressed in the full colonial getup. And, greetings, travelers.
How big's his mouth?
Normal size mouth. Normal size mouth.
Every person is just going to be like a phrenology experiment. Let me check your jaw. You get the calipers out and check the jaw real quick.
We do hope you've enjoyed your dining experience at Wheatley's Tavern, and as you travel on to such locales as Boston, Springfield, and Lowell, we'd appreciate a recommendation from you to everyone that you meet that travels through Northwest Massachusetts that they might stop by Wheatley's Tavern for a fine and authentic colonial meal experience. I'm the manager and owner, Bill Wheatley.
Yeah, most definitely, this was one of the best.
With as straight a face as Leland can manage, he sticks his hand out. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. So what brings you fine folk through Dunwich?
A little sightseeing.
Dad, leave him alone. You notice the girl is kind of tugging on the tunic of her father, like, they're done. They want to go. Well, very good. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed your time here. My wife, my daughter, and I, we all thank you and hope that you've enjoyed this authentic colonial meal.
Well, yeah, except I noticed that it was missing the beer.
Oh, yes. Well, in full observance of the Constitution of the United States and all following amendments, the Wheatley's Tavern does abide and will not provide alcoholic beverages to any patron, as much as we'd like to provide that element of the authentic colonial experience.
I couldn't help but overhear about this plaque you had at the front of the door. And I was just wondering, what is your relation to this rotten fella?
Rotten fella.
Oh, yes, you mean Mr. J.D. Rockefeller. Well, yes, when we moved from, and again, you see the girl give an eye roll as she now has sort of rolled her eyes and is now making for the kitchen, having been thoroughly embarrassed by the presence of her father coming out.
Yes, mission accomplished.
Yes.
He knew what was up.
Yes, well, we
lingered towards that attractive man there. I can't have that.
Yes, we came out. We're originally from the Lowell, Massachusetts area, and we were coming out this way to start a restaurant business. And we saw this lovely tavern up for sale, and we were able to scratch up the finances to buy it and start the restaurant. But it was Mr. Rothenfelder's money that we were able to get a very, very generous grant from the Rothenfelder Foundation to bring the tavern and the kitchen up to authentic standards. The place was pretty run down until, we were doing everything we could, but Mr. Rothenfeller's money really has helped us bring this place up to its beautiful colonial ambiance that you've been able to experience and enjoy this evening. And again, it wasn't even a loan; it was a grant from his society, his foundation. So we benefit from his largesse.
He is quite the patron of the arts, I have to say.
Oh, yes, I understand that he has many art dealings, in addition to his many business holdings. And he certainly is appreciative of the authentic colonial experience, just as you've enjoyed here tonight at Wheatley's Tavern.
Does Mr. Rotherfeller eat here often?
No, that's the funny thing. He's got an open invitation, but we've barely seen the man. I think we maybe saw him once. His man does come through once in a while, and he'll hand out a little. Poor fella, something's happened to his voice box or something. Might have been injured in the war. I really don't know, but he'll put down a little script of paper with what he wants, and we will serve him, and we make sure that. Of course, there's an open invitation to Mr. Rothenfeller if he too would like the authentic colonial experience of fine colonial era cuisine that you've all enjoyed here tonight. But no, we haven't seen Mr. Rothenfeller himself. He keeps to himself on that piece of property that he bought, and I'm sure he travels a lot, though he's a very old man. It may be that he's I don't know how well he is, but I know he's getting up there. He's probably in his 80s. Although his man's probably in his 40s.
His man, you say he's something's the matter with his voice?
I think so. It must be. He's got these scars all kind of like down under his chin, along his neck, and the man hasn't uttered a word ever since I've seen him. He comes in with his little script of paper and puts it down, and we give him an authentic Miskatonic trout or a fine pie, chicken pie, or sometimes he'll even have the Yankee pot roast, which is quite delicious, I might add, especially with the carrots and cabbages.
We'll have to try that next time.
Oh, it's wonderful. Everything at Wheatley's Tavern is authentic to the era, with the exception, of course, yes, with the exception of the beer.
Well, you can't do anything. The law is the law.
What about the
law
hemp?
is the law.
What about the what?
The hemp.
The what? I'm sorry. The what, sir?
The hemp.
Well, yeah.
And we do have one other question. You wouldn't have happened to seen a French gentleman around here like a few weeks back.
A French gentleman?
Yeah, go by the name of Plunky.
I'm sorry, I don't. I know there was a French man that was killed here in town maybe a few months ago. Was somewhere or just outside of town or something like that. I guess he stayed at the Wayward Travelers Inn, a little bit down the way. But no, we have not. We didn't see him here, but it kind of shook up the community a little bit that had happened here. We don't have that kind of crime. A little community like this.
A crime such violence with such violence as that definitely shakes up small places. I'm
Indeed.
Well,
quite acquainted.
Add to the authentic colonial experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose back in the day you would have had attacks by Native American folk, and of course us colonials weren't very innocent too, in exacting a toll on the fine people of that time that lived here, the Native American folk. It was quite a violent time, but we like to
the burnings. I was thinking about the witches, but you're right.
Oh, the witches, of course. Yeah, well, that was more out in Salem, out towards the east. We around here, of course, we're from Lowell, but people around here seem to have sort of a tolerance for some of the old superstitions.
I heard there's a wizard.
I heard him call him man wizard. We got here.
Yeah, now he's coming. He's a strange one. Oh, he is. He comes in. What's that?
I said you'd have to be.
He comes in with his daughter, and she's all pale, like but they really do like the cornbread, and they really love the pot roast. I gotta say that Lavinia, she can pack down the pot roast like you would not believe.
How big's her mouth?
Well, she's a dainty little thing, but you think she'd just nibble at it, but bam, 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 she really brings it. She'll take it down like you wouldn't believe. It's like she's I don't know. She's eating like a storm.
Eat
But she
too,
just loves
you
our
guys say.
authentic cuisine.
Sounds like you guys are very popular.
I think so. I think we're going to make something of ourselves. You know, we're coming out to a little place like this. We thought, well, we don't know.
It's a brave move to move from Lowell to open up a restaurant in Dunwich.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. This is
really, you embody the true spirit of colonial America.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'll make sure that I tell my wife and daughter that thank you, that you've enjoyed, and you seem to understand what we're trying to go for here.
I believe in entrepreneurial endeavors.
Wonderful. Well,
I
thank you
believe in
so
a good
much.
meal, and it was fabulous.
Thank you so much. And please do tell all of your friends that when passing through north central Massachusetts that they make a stop at Wheatley's Tavern for colonial authentic fare.
Yes, we got it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And then there's sort of an awkwardness. He's just kind of rocking back and forth on his heels, kind of like, well, you all have a good night now. I've got to go clean things up and be ready for another busy day tomorrow.
Yep, it was very nice to meet you. Let's get out of here, folks.
Very
Let's,
authentic.
Money on the Bearhead.
what do you say we go and scope out this farmhouse?
Once we're outside,
Yeah.
this guy scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, before we get outside, if Leland catches the young waitress's eye, he'll wink at her and then walk out.
All right. Give me a luck roll to see if she actually is out in the front room as you leave. If she pokes her head out again.
I made that. Yeah.
Okay. You wink at her and you see her like really kind of light up for the first time as she sort of smiles, and you break through that wall, and yeah, she's really happy.
Probably made that poor girl's decade.
That was the plan.
Yep.
With a father like that, she needs all the encouragement she can get.
All right.
That
So
reminds me of my little sister.
So it's probably about 9 o'clock at night because you guys got here around sundown. You settled into the inn. You went over to the tavern. You had your meal and your talk. And it's probably about 9 in the evening. Again, it's pitch dark out here. No lights. Even everybody in this, it's like all this house lights are going out. So it's you'll be able to find your way around, but it's, you're like, God, if we went 30 yards off into the woods, we'd probably miss the whole town.
I'm thinking that this might be the perfect time to go hit that farmhouse.
I'm always interested inside a little bit of reconnaissance. I'm also interested in a little bit of infiltration if that's what we need to get to.
Well, let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Exactly. Whatever's happening here, like, you don't just get snatched up by nobody. Somebody here had to have been watching this guy.
He was kidnapped for sure.
Oh, and he was kidnapped from the restaurant. That's why they never saw him.
He never made it to the restaurant, so he could have been kidnapped from there.
Oh, I think he did make it to the restaurant.
Now, a man like that can't lie worth nothing. He never saw him.
That man creeped me out. You should talk to his daughter. I bet she's more open than he is.
I don't think that's the
Let's
best
just
idea.
go and take a look at this farmhouse that Rockefeller owns.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see how close we can get.
Oh, yeah. Let's sneak up right up close.
Well, I'm worried that there's going to be some type of fence or something.
I think we should bring our
Arms.
firearms. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Okay. According to sources, you think the house is probably going to be about 2 to 3 miles out of town, on the road that leads northwest out of town. So Are you taking both cars out or packing everything
I
into
suggest
one
we
car?
take one car.
Yeah, we take one car, go 3/4 of the way there, and then proceed on foot.
Yeah, I was about to say we need to at least hump it the last little bit.
Okay. Okay. So
Take my car if you want.
No, I want to take my car.
Okay.
okay.
I mean, it's his prized possession. He doesn't like leaving his car.
So everyone jumps into Leland's car. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it doesn't take that long at all to drive the couple miles out of town. I will need a because it's nighttime. I'll need I guess it would be a navigation roll. That's a skill, right? Navigation.
It is.
Sure is.
All right, to be able to find the place.
I have that skill.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I don't. So you're my navigator.
God, you can't use a survival skill.
I took track. I didn't take navigate. No, I didn't even take track.
I fail that roll and I will push it.
Okay.
Hold on. And
I swear to God, if you get me stuck in a sinkhole.
I just got turned around because of the North Star.
If you fail, what do you think should happen? If you fail the push,
I get stuck in a sinkhole.
okay, very good. The car gets stuck.
All right.
The only way that can end.
I made it.
Okay, cool. All right.
31.
So very good. You do find this place. It's a bit of a trick to find it because it's so dark, and the maps are only so.
I'm used to traveling with no headlights in the dark.
Yeah. So you find it. You all pile up because you weren't going the whole way. You were just gonna maybe have a 1/4 mile walk.
Yeah.
To the place. Okay. And there is a long, winding drive. What you see off of the main road, you actually see a couple of stone pillars and a gate that is closed at the moment. It's like it's a wrought iron gate, stone pillars, wrought iron gate. There's no fence on either side, but there's the road. The driveway goes through the pillars. There's like this off of the road. The driveway goes through, and there's this long winding drive through what looks to be an apple orchard that goes up the hill. And you can't see the house from the road. Apparently, this winding drive goes up through this extensive apple orchard and grounds.
Well, we can cut through the orchard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
That's a good idea.
Okay. You're gonna cut through the orchard. All right. All right.
If we're gonna go up to this house, I'm definitely gonna stay back because I can check out people's mouths from pretty far away. I don't need to. And I'm not much of this talking business, so I'm
Okay.
How about gunning business?
So are you? Yeah, you're taking your weaponry as you go on your expedition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to.
Okay.
I am because I'm not going to be up there talking to people.
Right.
Talking to anyone. Are we?
I should.
That's the plan. I wouldn't say we need to talk to anybody.
You're just gonna kind of scope about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now it's recon.
All right. All right. It is dark. Are you bringing flashlights or anything by which to see? Because it is very, very dark.
Well, I was hoping we could go by moonlight.
Give me a luck roll to see if there is moonlight, sir.
I probably have the
All
worst
right.
one.
Group luck. Yeah, group luck roll. Who's got the lowest luck?
Mine's 35.
That's probably you.
I rolled a 44.
Okay, so it is dark of the moon. It's cloudy, lowering skies, and it is. You could walk into a tree at this. It's so dark out here. You just bang your nose on a tree limb.
flashlights and kind of cover the beam so it's not as obvious.
Sure, keep them low, cover them up a little bit. Okay. All right, you're going through this orchard. You're following this road, kind of off the drive, but in the orchard. And you're going up, and it's very dark. It's very eerie. You notice, or maybe you don't notice. I don't know. I guess give me a listen roll. Or you can all make listen rolls at this point.
I pass.
All right.
I pass. Oh shoot! I pass hard.
All right. Those of you that passed, you're not getting the normal night animal sounds out here. Even in April, you're dead of winter. You might not hear much, but it's now spring. You'd think you'd start hearing. You wouldn't hear like summer noises, but you'd hear some noise. It's eerily quiet. It's really kind of freaking you out. Other than the wind through the trees, there's not really any noise. You made it with a hard success, Marcus. You think you hear off to your left through the orchard. You thought you heard the clanking of like a chain or something. Like you almost heard almost like a metallic clinking sound. So you're not sure what that is, but it kind of came off from the left.
So I put my finger to my lips, finger to the ear, and point in the general direction.
Okay. As you point in that direction, you also see now through the trees still ahead, you can see a couple of things. What looks like the main house. It looks like there's a couple of buildings. Like it looks like there's a main house, a barn, and maybe a garage or another kind of outbuilding. And then a little ways from that, you can see what looks like past the orchard. It looks like a family cemetery, like an old New England sort of family plot through the trees. The ground is pretty spongy and wet, given that it's early spring. The last snow wasn't too long ago, so everything's very soggy in this area. It's almost swampy, although there is an apple orchard, but it's just the ground is very soft and spongy. So as you point, those are the other things you see. You see dark houses off to one side, and then you see what looks like a family crypt or something a little ways off from that. And then you can see through the trees where you thought you heard the clinking noise. You can see what looks like some kind of a building or, well, yeah, it looks like a building in the orchard, like a small building in the middle of the orchard. But everything's dark. There are no lights.
All right. Well, I try and let them know that I heard something coming from that building.
All right.
So maybe we should go and check that out first.
Okay. Is that where we all headed?
We should really go in
Are
there.
we all headed? Shouldn't we sneak?
Yeah, we should be.
That crypt.
We totally
Okay.
sneaky.
All right. You guys can give me sneak rolls.
Stealth? Yeah.
Stealth rolls, yeah. And, I gotta see if you are okay. Yeah, just give me.
That's terrible.
I made it. Mine's 27 out of 40.
Are we allowed to spend luck? Is that?
Yes, you can.
All right,
You can do that.
And
Yeah.
well, unless someone failed it, I'm spending 3 luck to make it. I'll metagame.
I didn't fail it. It's my thing.
I'll spend luck to make it.
All right.
Okay.
Same.
All right. Everybody's moving very, very quietly. You're heading towards this building in the middle of the orchard where Marcus thought he heard something. You can all make spot hidden rolls at this point.
Yes.
Oh,
I missed that.
0. Shit.
I make it.
I am deaf for the time being.
You walked into a fucking tree. No, I made it.
All
I
right.
made it.
Those of you that make it, you do a double take as you're heading towards this building in the middle of the orchard. Beyond it and off to an angle, farther off, a good distance off through this extensive orchard, you thought you saw movement. You thought you saw bipedal movement.
Big mouth, little mouth.
You can't. What was your level of success?
Mine was normal.
Very, very minimal.
Minimal. Okay. So you wouldn't notice any features per se. In fact, it was so swift. You're not even sure you saw it at all. But it's kind of one of those things you kind of look to one another like, did you see that too? And it appeared to be a bipedal figure walking through the orchard. But now you've lost sight of them. They've gone like into another spot or behind some trees or something. Didn't appear to be aware of you. Was not like sort of crouching and looking at you. Nothing like that. It just seemed to be somebody walking through the orchard in the middle, late at night.
I'll affix my bayonet.
Okay.
What's in the building?
As you get to the building, you get a little closer. You did make your sneaks. So it looks to be a gazebo in the middle of the orchard. And as you get a little closer to it, again, you hear like a clinking sound as if of like chains. And you can make another spot hidden roll.
I fail that.
I failed it too.
I got a 0.5. I think that's
Wow.
Woo!
I have a 55 skill, so it's a little under 10%.
Yeah. All right. So it's very, very dark. The wind is blowing a little bit, so the trees are casting strange shadows. However, full house, you maybe it's just where you're standing or something. You catch a glint of metal, and you can see what looks like a large humped form in the gazebo. Like it's an open gazebo. It's not a it doesn't have walls. It's got a little railing and some steps up and a little roof, like a little bandstand almost. But you see what looks like a form huddled on the floor or the planking of the gazebo, and you see a glint of what looks like metal, and then maybe the glint of an eye, as whoever or whatever this is has noticed your approach, is not rushing out or anything, but is just is observing you as you observe it.
I say that thing's real big, and I point my gun at it.
It is fairly, whatever it is, whoever it is, they're large. Yeah. And it's cold out. It's like you guys have got your coats on. It's this is New England in April, so it is chilly out here.
They look.
You made that spot hidden extreme. You should probably ask how big that mouth was.
Well, I mean, I can tell how big that mouth is. Is it big?
All right.
This whole fixation you have past me.
All right. Well, we'll say whatever it is kind of leans forward. Again, you're the only one that sees this with your extreme. You're shocked to see what looks like a semi-human face. And it does have, it kind of makes this kind of, you don't know if it was a yawn or a half cough or what it was, but you notice this huge maw with these big, big teeth. And then it kind of brings its arm up and it's kind of, I don't know, doing this, kind of rubbing its face with its front arm. And once in a while, and again, it shifts a little bit. And you all hear this like a little bit of a clink, as if maybe it's imprisoned here or chained here. You don't know who or what this is, but they appear to be secured to the gazebo. Very odd.
Well, I make everyone else aware of it, and I keep my gun trained on it, and I let people that are higher pay grade in the intelligence department deal with it.
Okay. You're not sure what this thing is. It's very dark. It's hard to see. You know it's got a big mouth.
Does this thing exact a sanity roll from us?
Not yet. Not yet.
Good to know.
Should we get closer to it?
Should we skirt around it? I mean, this could definitely be.
I think once
I
we're
would suggest skirting around it because I don't want to like set it off, and I don't want to have to fight it. Because if we fight it, it's gonna alert a lot of people.
Well, if there are a lot of people.
Well, I mean, it's pretty quiet out here, and if we fire a gun, it's gonna be heard for a while away.
All right. I need you to make a group luck roll at this point.
Oh, that's bad.
I have 39. What does everyone else have?
Oh yeah,
I have 32.
Okay, that's you.
55.
06.
Nice, nice. Okay, fair enough.
Let's just say my luck is nowhere near as low as y'all's. It's the one thing my dice were favoring me on right there.
Go ahead, your appearance.
Well, of course, I got to put my high stats in that. You know how I roll. Never know when you got to seduce somebody to get information. Somebody's got to be able to do it.
So I think we should move on, and we should be decisive. So I'm going to start moving.
Let's go
around
toward the barn.
Okay.
Barn area.
Okay, so you guys are gonna skirt this thing and head towards the barn.
My gun trained on it though.
Okay.
Out of sight.
That is fucked up.
Yeah, it's weird. Whoever that is, there again. You see a bit of a glint of the eye as it's sort of.
How big is big?
Man-sized, like a large man. Like
Okay.
take a
It's like a big guy tied up.
Yeah, like we're not talking like a little kid. We're talking like maybe
like George the Animal Steel big.
Exactly right. Yeah, like I was gonna say like a good size man.
Wait,
but that would be somebody that has like a regular sized bite.
Except that Full House, he got the best look, and he saw what looked like a distorted human visage with a huge like mouth, like a big prothagonous jaw and good sized incisors. You didn't. The rest of you didn't really. You saw bits and pieces, but he got the best look.
Right. We got like big guy tied up. He got big guy with deformed face.
Yeah. You're thinking, God, was that like a Neanderthal or what? What the hell was that? Cro-Magnon? Like what's the deal?
Mouth like that's made. That's all I'm saying. That's not grown.
Yeah. So yeah. So you skirt
if what you're telling me is you think it's that thing is what did that to that French guy. I suggest we keep our distance.
All right. And as you're heading now, you're skirting the gazebo and you're headed around like you head due east. You kind of skirt around, you head due east to the buildings that make up the garage and all this. Again, you see actually, I guess it would be a spot hidden roll again. You see, well, we'll see if you see it. Make a spot hidden roll.
Make it.
I made it.
All right.
I made it.
Actually, I made it extreme.
I made it.
All right.
Hard.
Oh, all right. So those of you that made it, and we'll get to the extreme in a moment, but the rest of you that did make it flat out, you see up ahead as you're exiting the orchard and heading towards the main compound of buildings, there is the driveway, the hard packed driveway. You do in the orchards on both sides of the drive as it goes up to the compound. You see what looks like another one of these figures, kind of ghost across, kind of shambles, kind of walks, in a kind of an aimless fashion across the road, up near the front gates of the compound. The compound itself is walled in with like a little low 3-foot wall, and then there's a gate, and then there's the buildings. But as you get up to that, you can see up in the distance, you can see one of these, whoever it is, again, maybe it's the same person you saw earlier, you thought you saw, just kind of shambles across the road. With the extreme, you can make a sanity roll at the extreme.
Yay. Oh, I made that.
You make it. Okay, let me just look something up real quick.
Wait, what were we rolling?
I just me.
Or was it you?
Just yeah, because he got the best look with an extreme. Maybe somebody turned a light on in the house briefly, and then it went back off. But in that moment,
Cloud.
cloud, yeah, maybe a cloud parts. Right, you get a good look. You're like, well, it's not Halloween, so why would somebody dress like that? Why would somebody dress up? It was extremely pale, rotted flesh, eye sockets. There was some stuff seeping out of the eye sockets. Just looked like something out of a Walking Dead movie. Straggly clothes, like straggly hair, just looking horrific. And just sort of shambles from one little copse of trees to another copse of trees, and leaves you. You don't think it saw you guys? Maybe they don't. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be very aware.
Did I lose any sanity?
No, because I'm sorry, you made your sanity roll, so you lose 0 sanity, but you're still taken aback by the ultimate sort of visage of this thing. That it's pretty terrible.
I try and convey as quietly as possible that we need to be really super quiet.
You look kind of pale. You all right?
Shh. Later.
All right. And you can see now as you get up, you're really on the lookout. You get closer to the compound. You can see there is the driveway. Which goes up. There's the main house is to your left. A little bit further in, there's a well. To your right is what looks to be like some old horse stables. And then to your left, what looks to be a barn. And you can make spot hidden rolls at this point.
And I failed that.
Okay.
No, I failed that.
Okay. 2 fails. How about the other 2?
Full House made it by 5, and then I'm looking for Nick's character right now. He misses it by 2.
Are we about to enter some combat? Nick has wandered off to the toilet.
I mean,
Full House, you made it. You can see what looks like tire tracks moving off to the barn. So it looks like maybe they've taken the old barn and turned it into a garage, because you can see what looks like tire tracks going off to the barn.
all right.
And
I point them out to the person with track. I think it's the attractive man. Lily's
okay.
What?
I point them out to you. The tire tracks.
Okay. And as you're pointing out the tire tracks, I need another group luck roll.
Oh, hell no.
All right. As you point out the tire tracks, somebody hears a noise coming up from behind you, and as you look and you turn, you see what looks to be 3 pale figures. Definitely one of the ones that you saw earlier, Marcus. There are 3 of them walking up the road towards the compound.
Do they see us?
You think that they do. They're not moving at great speed, but they're shambling forward. There are 3 of them. I need everybody to make sanity rolls at this point as you get a good look at them.
Do I have to make another one?
You do not. You passed it before, but the others have
I failed
to.
that. I failed the shit out of that.
Make it.
I made it.
Here it comes.
All right. So Leland, you failed. The rest of you make it. These things are clearly not alive. They are the Walking Dead. And I need you to make a sanity roll, Leland, as you reckon. I mean, these things are like something right out of a Nosferatu.
a pulp, perhaps.
Yeah,
something
a
my
pulp.
sister
You know,
wrote.
they're just sort of haggard looking. They're shambling up. They've become aware of you.
Nope.
Awesome. Give me a D8 roll.
Don't fuck me, dice. 3.
3. Okay. So you lose 3 points of sanity. Not enough to drive you temporarily insane.
Oh shit!
But yeah, exactly. You go, ah! And as you do that, you make that involuntary reaction. Lights go on in several of the houses. There's a furious dog barking. And should we leave it at that point for this session? Does that sound about right?
That's perfect.
Bit of a cliffhanger.
That's a great cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's when
Dun,
the
dun.
All right.
is good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Cool.
All right. So, dang. Join us next time when we die.
I've been through this in the war once. We'll be okay.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Everyone who's listening later on, thanks for listening. Keep 30 luck points, not that. We're playing by that rule set.
Yeah.
But we'll be seeing you.
See you next time.